What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another electric episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. It is Superhero Day, and that's why I'm wearing this.
You look good.
No.
We look good together.
Why? What is with these masks and superheroes? Like, who back in the day decided...
Hiding the identity.
Yeah,
First
no
of
one's
all-
gonna know it's you.
I feel like I still knew.
Natalie, this is-
like I've been here this whole time. You just haven't noticed because I've been wearing this.
Welcome back, Leah.
Yay!
Fresh off maternity leave, she got rid of her kid. I'm just kidding.
my
She was
God.
like, you know what? Nah.
How is motherhood?
Motherhood is great. I didn't know I could love anything as much as I do. It's really true what they say. And yeah, I mean, I'm loving every second of it.
But you missed coming
Yeah.
back and taking care of these grown babies.
Yeah, now I have
Thank
more.
Well, we are very excited to have you back, Leah. We have an incredible, dare I say, unbelievable week ahead for y'all. It won't be just us dressed up in the incredible. Who's who? Am I Captain Incredible? Is it Captain Incredible?
Captain Incredible?
Mr. Incredible?
Mr.
Mr.
Incredible.
Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible. I'm
Yeah, you're
Violet.
Mr. Incredible.
Can I talk about some trauma?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
On my first season of The Bachelorette, when Andy Dorfman was the lead, I was compared, to some people online. And oftentimes when you go on TV, you're hoping for like a celebrity comparison. I got some of those.
I know who you're gonna say.
One of them was the villain in The Incredibles.
Oh,
Really?
no.
People said you looked
Yeah.
like him?
Yeah, that and the Ghostbusters 2 villain.
You know what, Nick? I've been compared to this
Well,
one,
if the shoe
Edna.
fits.
So
Edna Mode.
Edna mode. This is
So
my
that's
lookalike.
my trauma. These are the worst. These make people look terrible. I can't.
These
Oh,
are
no,
Why
party.
did
done.
you have to say that while looking me in the eye? These
You
things
actually-
make people look awful.
You and-
I will be
you and
honest.
Justin look pretty good.
Everyone in here has looked better.
I'm taking these off.
I could not. I
I'm-
personally could
I'm
not
sticking
do.
to the bit.
I
Thank you,
stay in
Justin.
solidarity
Justin
with
stands-
Justin
Y'all
has
are
his
strong.
guns out.
He does.
I lost my Trader Joe's like muscles.
What?
So don't look too closely.
Why didn't you cut any of our t-shirts? You didn't want any of us to show our arms?
This was already cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's that.
Well, speaking of incredible, we have an incredible week.
There we
did you like
go.
that. Gypsy Rose returns to the Viall Files this Wednesday for an electric, explosive episode of Going Deeper, and her new partner, Ken, the father of her child, is with us. Gypsy and Ken are with us in studio. I think she's, she is several months pregnant. I don't know.
She's in her third trimester.
She's in her third trimester. We haven't caught up with Gypsy since she was with us in January. Obviously, a lot has happened, and we get into all of it with Gypsy and Ken. The last time she was here, Ryan, her then husband, I think technically still her husband. I think she's finishing up the whole divorce of it all. But she's been through a lot. As we know. I don't know what opinions are out there of Gypsy. Mine has always been, this is a person who really deserves, I think, people's grace and a chance to get her life together. And like we talked about when we first interviewed her, I mean, listen, it's a fascinating situation when prison is giving you more freedom than you had prior to going into prison. We know, obviously, we don't condone violence of any kind. It's a sad story with the abuse that she endured with her mom. But she's out and she's figuring out her life. And certainly there's some mess that we anticipated along the way. But we appreciate Gypsy coming in and sharing that story with us. And it is truly an unbelievable one. So be sure to tune in on Wednesday for that. We have also today Hannah from Love is Blind, fresh off of telling Nick everything that's wrong with him.
Again.
For the 70th time.
Yeah. So
Poor guy.
we'll get the chance to talk with her. If she stands by her approach. Hannah's not necessarily wrong with her critiques of Nick. I think we're just curious about her approach.
The delivery.
The delivery
Yeah.
of said approach. Also, Jillian Turecki is with us. She is here to talk about her new book, all about relationships, dating. She's a relationship coach. She's also a fan of Love is Blind, obviously with all the social dynamics. So she'll be breaking that down with us as well, along with interviewing Hannah Also on Thursday, we got Crystal Minkoff and Cynthia Bailey with us in studio for a major announcement. I am so excited for the announcement that they are going to be talking about, and they'll be with us on Thursday. Charles is also with us on Thursday. Charles, your favorite Golden Bachelor. He will be calling it. Hopefully, he'll have internet connection this week. He is on vacation and enjoying life, and we support that for Charles. So hopefully we'll get a chance to talk with Charles as well. All right, what happened over the weekend? I think Knowledge won. And by I think, I mean, I'm pretty sure we went 2-0.
Yeah.
And we have
did.
pulled ahead.
That's
So-
unfortunate.
What were the games to recap?
Lions versus Cowboys
Oh, boy,
and
the Lions.
Falcons versus Panthers.
Lions lost a big
So-
player there.
Yeah, poor Adrian Hutchinson. What a gruesome injury. He really sad, though. He was maybe arguably the best player in the league this year. It was gruesome. It was terrible, and our hearts go out to him and his family, and honestly, everyone in the Detroit fan base. As a Green Bay Packer fan, the Detroit Lions are not easy to hate because they've been so bad, but they deserve to at least have a good. They deserve to lose to the Packers in the NFC Championship game. This is all I'm really saying, and it sucks to have a player like Adrian Hutchinson hurt the way it was. It was terrible. It was sad. Our hearts go out to him.
It sounds like you joined another, or you have another person on your team, Nick. The knowledge over there.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm
You
not,
don't know
You're,
anything
you're
about
like whipping
football?
stats
I know.
out.
I know things that happen like outside of the games,
Yeah, you were all talking about.
like the wives, the hugs when they hug
Did
their
you
wives.
see Juszczyk like do his touchdown and then run and jump into his
To his
wife
wi-
Kristen's
yes,
arms?
That is what I see.
that
I see the clips.
was beautiful. Nick, would you do
Yeah.
that with me?
Absolutely, babe. And George
What if I
Kittle,
was-
his friend, the tight end,
Yes, Kittle.
Yeah.
his
But-
wife.
What if I was up in the nosebleeds? Would you?
Oh my God, run all the way up. I'd like call a timeout, even though my coach would be super mad because timeouts are valuable, and I'd run all the way up to the nosebleeds and I'd give you a big old kiss, and I'd run all the way back.
They'd have to cut to a really long commercial break each time.
Yeah.
I would do that every time I had
Aw,
a
that's
yard.
cute.
Every yard.
Every yard?
Every yard.
Wow,
Yeah.
this would be the longest football game ever.
I
All right, what's going on in household headlines?
On a heavier note, the P. Diddy trial has been set. It's, I think, May of 20. When is
May
it?
of 2025.
May 2025. Which I guess good. Usually these things can take a long time
Years,
to
yeah.
set. Hopefully justice will be served sooner than later.
I think people are starting to get,
The dominoes are falling.
yeah, the dominoes are falling.
The dominoes are falling. Kanye was sued for allegedly participating in said drugging of people at these crazy parties, and he's accused of doing some terrible things along with his friend P. Diddy. So may all those guilty suffer terrible consequences.
Let justice be served.
Let
Yeah.
justice be served.
I did just get a jury summons, so
my-
definitely going to answer
Oh
that.
my God.
You know what I was told in college? That if you just ignore it, nobody would ever know.
No, you'll get arrested.
Actually,
Well, that's
I-
what you would think.
I'm pretty
but
sure
then-
Justin's right.
Oh,
Like my friend was like, my mom, I'm not gonna say who she is, but she was like, my mom just ignores them and like they can't prove you ever received the mail. So like they just stop sending it eventually
Oh.
because you never respond.
I usually push mine off until November because they always say like if you push it off the week of Thanksgiving, it'll get canceled. So I've been doing that for years, and then I tried it the last time. I always get summoned for jury duty.
This is your citizen duty.
No, I know. So I tried it this year, and the woman on the phone was like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You can't push it off to November 25th."
I want to get called to jury duty so bad. I'm like begging and they just won't pick me. Why won't they pick me?
Have you voted in the state of California yet?
I believe I am still actually registered in Georgia.
Do you have a driver's license for California?
I do not. I
Yep.
have a
Well,
Georgia. Yep.
There
Then
you go.
There you go.
There
Okay.
it is.
You're about to get summoned in Georgia.
All right. Well, I'm just like not quite ready to part with my Georgia driver's license
No,
quite yet.
I get this though, because that's me with my like NorCal address. I haven't changed it legally, technically. The day before I moved to LA, they summoned me for jury in Sacramento. And I was like, now you do it?
Ugh.
Couldn't even do it.
Gosh, couldn't even
Well, if you get pulled over, the police officers will give a shit.
do. Yeah.
they'll-
Yeah.
Wait, you can't drive with a different license?
No, you can, but they'll be like, "How long did you live here?" And now
Oh,
it's
it's
gonna be
like 6
like
months or
4
something, right?
years, and then they're gonna get really,
And I'm gonna say, but sir, look how cute I look in my picture. You think
And
I could
he's-
redo this?
She's a long-term visitor.
and they're gonna be mad because on some way, shape, or form, they're gonna say that you're not. Because police officers get paid by state taxes, and technically, I guess you could argue that you're not paying state taxes, which is incorrect because you are
I
paying
am.
state taxes because you work in the state of California. But that's
Yeah.
what they're gonna say. They're gonna.
But
act
then I'm
like,
gonna say, sir, do you know how hard it is to get a sleigh of a picture? And then he'll be like, I
you're-
do understand. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
a great day.
I did have a Georgia license as well. I had to get my license in Georgia when I
What?
lived there because I moved to Georgia for
Like 6
less than a
months.
year and
Yeah.
immediately got into a car accident and
Oh my
had to get
God.
a new car. And when you get a car in Georgia, you got to have a license in Georgia. And so I went, didn't have my glasses. I
Oh,
can't
no.
see, for those of you who don't know. And when it came time for the vision test, she was like, okay, here are all the letters. And I'm just looking at a bunch of like blurry nothings. And there's no way I passed it. She looks at me. She's like, welcome to Georgia. And she stamps my thing.
Insane.
Yep.
Insane.
Yeah.
Welcome to Georgia.
Welcome to Georgia.
You know what you don't need a license for?
What?
The new Tesla autobuses.
What the hell is an autobus?
I'm
Like,
into it.
so they have 3 new products that they just launched at their like We Robot event, which to me is scary, first of all.
Yeah.
So they have like the robot that like can like do your chores, grab your drinks, like bring groceries in from the car. Like it's like
Looks like a human.
which
but
people thought that they were like
Mm.
self-automated, but it was actually someone controlling the robot. Granted, they're going to do this in the future. Then they have like a taxi, like an auto taxi, and then they have like an auto bus, and these are like self-driving.
Hate.
And they
I'm
look
against.
they look like the cars and robots from iRobot.
They do.
Like
That's
literally.
so
it's
scary.
literally
Oh,
straight out of a
God.
sci-fi.
They look
That's
like
crazy.
the Incredibles in the movie where they're like going into the
A little bit.
And
yeah.
they don't they fit like an absurd amount of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
Wow.
The
You know-
bus isn't scary to me. The robot is.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bus is like, okay, cool, like a bus. But yeah, the robot, I don't need a yeah,
No.
no, I don't really need that.
You
like,
definitely don't
walking
want to get.
around.
You definitely don't want to go in for version 1.
No, oh my god.
You know?
That one's gonna kill you.
You want to wait for like 30 versions. That well,
It's like
it's the
this-
difference when your phone malfunctions.
It just feels kind of like he's just trying so hard to like turn us into Blade Runner 2020 whatever movie. Elon, where I'm
Oh.
like these like futuristic designs that like everyone's like in the future this is what everything's gonna look
Look like.
like.
yeah.
That we don't need this.
It is really scary how much like technology and our phones like take over because I have this app that tracks like when I breastfeed and I'm like if I miss a session I'll go back in and fix it because I'm worried that my app is going to get upset.
I mean, we
Interesting.
do need innovation. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that was in the commercial for like this robot was I think babysitting the kids.
Nope.
Or at
Nope.
least like being around your kids and like giving
Nope.
them games and stuff. And I was like,
You
I
know
don't
that
if
is the
that's-
future. I mean, maybe
No.
not
A
anytime
robot?
soon, and I don't think
Daycare?
I'm not into it. You know, I don't think. Yeah, like I don't think I want to trust any recent version, but eventually that is the future.
You
And you just know that
So
like
eventually,
it's all gonna get ruined because some like basement straight weird guy is gonna like try to have sex with it and it's like gonna ruin everything and you know.
well, no, they're gonna have sex bots.
They're already doing
They
that.
already
Oh
have
yeah.
that.
I think I think
Why do we need a robot taking care of your
we
child?
don't. We don't.
Why do we need a self-driving car when we have people that can drive their own cars?
Well, I definitely think we need self-driving cars because people are driving on their phones and they're fucking idiots.
That is a
But
thing
even
in
then,
LA.
Tesla truck blows up because the battery, like, and people are stuck inside the truck,
I mean,
caught
listen,
on fire.
accidents happen all day, but like right now, there's an accident. Right now, an accident happened. I mean, they happen all the fucking time with people shaving, drinking, eating in their cars. You can't argue that, like, eventually when they figure out automation and self-driving cars, which they essentially have, like, it's going to be way safer than humans. It's just that's not even debatable. It's just not.
Have you been in a Waymo yet?
I got
No.
approved for the app though.
I rode in one. It was the scariest thing ever.
Sure,
The
but you made it.
self-driving car.
Yeah.
I made
mean,
it.
just objectively speaking, I understand that the scary parts of this. Natalie and I were in a self-driving car in Hawaii. I mean, granted, the driver was there, but it drove itself. It was crazy and it's a little weird. But objectively speaking, given all the people on their phones and doing all the crazy shit they shouldn't be doing on their cars, self-driving cars are way safer. There'll be far less accidents and far less people like losing lives or having terrible injuries once this takes over. I mean, it's just a fact.
If everybody has a self-driving car.
But I'm saying eventually when this all, comes
we'll
to
be
fruition.
Told what to do because we'll get rid of the gas stations and put in the plugs. So now you can't even have a gas
Yeah.
driving car because
Oh, listen, I'm not.
follow the rules.
I don't like that.
But that's the fact of it. And even then, where I'm like, Tesla was
what?
able to turn off somebody's car. Granted, they were a bad guy, but they caught them and he was driving a Tesla and they were able to shut off his car.
I mean, listen,
There
there's
goes your
That's
autonomy.
crazy.
well, there's a lot of scary stuff when it comes to all that stuff. I'm just saying, objectively speaking, people are bad drivers.
Okay.
They are.
Okay.
They are.
I did see something about the Waymo cars where like at night the Waymo cars park in a parking lot. But like imagine 50 different Waymo cars trying to park in slots at the same time in this parking lot and they honk at each other. So like they
It's-
live next to houses and they're just literally But first of all, there's nobody in the car, so they're
It's-
honking at each other. Like, can y'all not
Like
communicate?
send a text or something.
like-
Yeah, and they're figuring out the glitches.
No, it's literally like that movie. The
iRobot.
world was ending and all the Tesla cars just started like driving
Crashing.
themselves and crashing because like it malfunctioned and
Yeah.
everything is electronic and you can't trust electronics. It's like those little the little robots that deliver food in LA. Have
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
seen those? And they're
Mhm.
always stuck at a corner and they're like
Take forever.
and it's like it's because it doesn't know directions. It's because whoever fucking
And
made
the
this
vacuums.
like doesn't really know what the fuck they're doing.
And those vacuums where they're just like they just
God,
get
everyone's
Thank
just
you, Natalie. Thank
venting
you.
about robots this morning.
Wait. Question about the food ones. Like, because I ordered from one the first time the other day, but I was down the street. So, like, I saw it, but you can't walk up to it, right?
No.
Like, it has to go to your location. So it's
and it
stuck
moves
over
so
there.
slow and people are always standing in front of it taking photos and it's like
Do
Everybody
you
just
have a
walks in
choice
front.
to
And now
order
your
with
food-
one of those? Is that an option?
No, but
or-
you don't have to pay tip. I learned that. So you're saving $2.
thank God.
You don't
Yeah.
Now you get cold food.
For your $40 Postmates
And there's
meal.
like everyone stopping and videoing it as it's going by. Yeah, it's insane.
To Nick's point, though, like every car in LA, if you look into their car, they're on their phone.
Do you think a robot can cut someone's hair?
I wouldn't trust
I
it.
cut my own hair.
If
over the
Sally Beauty
weekend.
can't do this, a robot can't.
Did you? You
What do you-
cut your own hair
What
over
do you think
the
of my
weekend?
haircut? I did it myself.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, you have curly hair, so it's easy to like.
Did you use a Flowbee?
No, what?
I forgot about the
No,
the
I just-
vacuum.
I
that
just
like
use the clippers.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
the clippers
That's
are like.
scary.
An 8 guard.
Oh.
And then I trim my bangs.
My bangs.
Bangs.
Well, to be fair,
You're
eight,
just a
bangs.
girl.
That's bad. Not that
Just a
bad.
I don't know if you have bangs.
Not that bad.
you have bangs. She just has
I
curly
guess, yeah.
bangs.
What do you call them?
Up bangs.
My front hair?
The front of your hair.
My front hair? No, it's just your hair.
But what do you call the hair that goes
That's
over
falls
my
in his
forehead?
face so delicately.
Yeah.
Like just
Thank you.
No, this is down bangs. He has up bangs.
But sometimes they're down.
maybe if Nick straightened his hair, they could be
Yeah.
bangs.
I think they're bangs if you want them to be bangs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You did a good job though. I could never cut my hair. It would terrify me.
I cut my hair.
You do?
I do
All the time?
all the time. I haven't had a haircut because I just it's the most efficient thing ever. I go like this. I pull my hair to the front and it's when it's wet and I look at it and I say, "Oh, those parts are already dry even though I just got out of the shower." Cut. And that's all I do. And then immediately my hair looks healthy.
Wow.
Genius.
No.
Truly. Anyways.
Well,
Very
reality
cool.
TV.
You know who's not making healthy decisions?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially Golden Bachelor casting.
Another one. But
Wild.
Another
Again,
day,
again,
another
again.
restraining
Another
order.
one. So what's going on here? They knew about this?
So Guy, he's the trauma surgeon, ER surgeon,
surgeon.
He's a
ER doctor.
ER doctor.
Isn't he orthopedics?
No, Nick.
He's an
not.
ER doctor.
He's an ER doctor.
Give us a little backstory here.
So the ex-wife of Guy Gansert filed for a temporary protection order against the contestant in 2021 before withdrawing the application 3 weeks later, according to court records obtained by E. Of course, the world finds out. It's people are making TikToks, people are making it a thing. Tabloids are coming out. He releases a statement saying, "This was an unfortunate situation that occurred during an incredible stressful time for me and my former spouse and was ultimately resolved when she voluntarily dismissed her request for a protective order. Together, we crafted a resolution that was agreeable to both parties. My ex-wife and I were married for 34 years, and in that time, we had 4 children who we raised together and deeply love. They are my greatest accomplishment. My divorce was extremely difficult for me and led me to a very low point in my life. As a result, I acted in a way that does not represent who I am. The past few years have caused me to conduct a deep personal evaluation, and I will always continue to work to improve myself, and I'm so appreciative of the Golden Bachelorette and Bachelor Nation, as well as my family, who have been exceptionally supportive during the most difficult times of my life." His wife alleges that the physician had sent her text messages trying to reconcile, then flipping to anger, and that he later physically tried to threaten her.
Oh.
According to an emergency motion obtained by People, the order was never put into place before it was dismissed.
Well, and then a source close to production said, "We learned from Mr. Ganser during our vetting process that an application for a temporary protective order was filed against him from his ex-wife after a disagreement, but confirmed that it was never granted, as Mr. Ganser's ex-wife voluntarily dismissed the application shortly after filing." So they knew of it while casting.
Didn't we just learn from Emily Baker that especially a temporary one is incredibly easy to get?
The temporary is more
The
easy.
temporary is easy.
And
Okay.
she filed for a
For
temporary
a temporary. I still kind of feel like that should be a red flag, even if somebody has filed an attempt
100%.
to go through. with a
Honestly,
restraining order.
canceling it to me is a bigger red
I mean,
flag.
listen, we don't know the details. Divorces are terrible. I can't imagine what it's like for guy or anyone with 4 kids have a marriage end. But to your point, it's just like for the sake, maybe you don't get to go on TV.
Yeah, just for the sake of the well-being of the Bachelorette, because exactly what happened with Jen. She ended up picking the guy, and then come to find out, like, what if something happened to her down the line?
And that's
Like,
definitely
who's
not a
responsible?
conversation that's going to come up during the filming of.
No.
No, it's hard not to talk about your embarrassing moments, let alone like somebody filed a restraining order
Babe,
against
before
me.
you pick me,
Cash?
just so you know, my ex-wife filed a restraining order.
You know.
Yeah, and
like
in-
it's
In this most recent episode, too, they talked about his divorce. And
maybe for all we know, it was a really bad day and he didn't do anything that deserved a restraining order, and she was really mad and he was really mad, and that's why she,
But I think
declined to follow through. But to that point, it's like we don't know the details, and like you're
But
kind
I
of putting
think-
Joan in a bad position.
I think regardless of him being casted, they did have that conversation about his divorce, and maybe it was cut. I feel like that would be insanely crazy for him to cut it, but that is something I would want to know before I am married to someone.
Same.
That like you're like that is something you include.
yeah, like what happened here?
Why? Yes, like this happened. I wanted to see him be like, I acted outside of myself. I wasn't,
Yeah.
like the divorce, it really broke me. This happened. She ended up like temporarily. Like that's the story we should have had.
Yeah, Joan needs to be able to make an informed decision. So she needs to have all the information in front of her, and then she can decide if it was what it was.
And it's
what
like if
happened.
he doesn't tell her, then is production also not going to tell her? And
Because
she's
they
just
knew
like
about it,
never going to know until she gets out to the real
Maybe,
world. And then the
maybe.
world, like, that's fucked up.
It's also weird because it's like, are all of these surgences of like restraining orders on reality TV, is that because we're casting bad people, or is that because we're realizing that they've casted bad people?
I don't
and
know.
we can find this
I
information.
mean, listen, I think if you're going to cast 30-some men who have a long life and like all these, everyone
Yeah.
has, I guess, skeletons in their closet.
But then even the Devin of it all, he's younger.
Devin seems clearly a bad guy. We're not calling Guy a bad guy. We
Right,
don't. There's
okay.
Yeah.
we don't know anything. We're simply just saying that like whatever happened, maybe he shouldn't be going on TV and in a situation like that, given the stakes and given what Joan has put herself through and has signed up for. I can't imagine this conversation coming up. Like you just don't have that deep of conversations. And if you do, it's generally aired. And so maybe we'll get a chance to talk to Joan at some point. Maybe she'll let us know that it actually did come up and they chose not to air it and she felt safe and secure. I don't know. I think that's different than the Devin of it all.
I think in general, though, like across the board, Bachelor, Love is Blind, like where are they finding these
That's
men?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think you guys have a very kind of, no offense, naive outlook on how it takes to cast these people and like these people's lives or whatever. And I just like, I think it's, as we talked with Emily Baker, unfortunately, this shit isn't easy to find. It's state by state. You really have to know what you're looking for, unfortunately, sometime, which is, forget about TV. It's as scary for anyone out there if you want to do like a background check on people you're
Yeah.
dating. It's not easy to find this stuff. And it is super easy to file a temporary restraining order. Not everyone that's filed maybe has the legitimacy it needs, but most do. And I don't know, like I think unfortunately we all have shit in our past. I just think it's really hard for these companies to, again, it's not just the background checks you're doing on the people that you're putting on the shows. It's all the people you had to do background checks, the people you didn't put on the show, which is why, like shows like The Bachelor, like why they started releasing casts early. They literally do it because they are hoping the power of the internet finds things they couldn't find. That is why they're releasing cast photos prior to the filming of night one. Is it a perfect system? No, I'm not defending it. It's just like, I just think it's a little naive for people to act as if like they would do a better job.
Well, that's why I was asking that. Is it because they're casting bad people, or is it because us as a culture of like audiences are like, well, let's expose anybody that we know anything about?
That's the thing. I think it's more that.
Yeah.
I think we act as if like we're these perfect people with no past and we've never had to apologize for anything. And again, a restraining order is obviously another level, but forgetting about restraining order, yeah, that's how we watch reality TV. We watch reality TV because we like to judge everybody else, and we, it's easy for us to judge ourselves by watching people who represent us, remind us of someone or someone we dated, and it's very easy to, we don't sit there and watch reality TV and be like, yeah, I did that one time. It's like it's more like, who would ever do that? And you forget about the time you did it 15 years ago or whatever. Yeah, I mean, so I think we love highlighting poor behavior in people rather than the show's casting a bunch of horrible people. It's reality TV, and reality TV is trying to cast imperfect people. They're trying to find that line between drama and mess and like, someone who actually is still safe to be around. It's imperfect, but I don't think it's as easy What I do know, and I feel confident in saying that a lot of like conspiracy theorist fans love to believe, I don't think there's a deliberate attempt. They were transparent about the guy. We knew about it. We put him on anyways. I just don't think in other cases where they don't know about it, it's some sort of Machiavellian, they knew about it and they put him on anyways. I don't think that happens. You're just talking too much liability and too much money for these things from a business standpoint. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're knowably casting people for some of these behaviors that we come to find later on. I confidently say that, knowing how reality TV is made.
And I just saw an interview the other day. I couldn't find who said it, but I think it was on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, where she said, "I wish we approached people with curiosity and empathy instead of judgment." I can't find exactly who it was, but it was someone on Jimmy Kimmel, and it's interesting to what you were saying.
Was it Madeline Klein?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it was interesting, where like her as a public persona was like, "Why aren't we approaching people with curiosity and empathy?" But we jump to judgment. And I know restraining order is a different level, but it's an interesting conversation.
It is, but well, and with reality TV, which kind of makes me think about the Shannon of it all. I was going to ask you guys, I think I cracked the code on Bravo Nation and what fans expect of their housewives.
The Bravo sphere.
Well, because here you are, Shannon went on Watch What Happens Live last week. She looks great, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
She did look good.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Facelift is facelifting.
Either way. Thanks, John Jansen.
Worth it.
Hashtag worth it. And last week we had Tamara issue a quote basically like, hey, I'm shocked by the audience's response. I'm kind of shocked by the edit. I would have thought someone who has a drinking problem and had a DUI and a hit and run would be the villain of the season, basically what she was trying to say. And whether it's Tamara or Alexis, who was on the red carpet with John Jansen last week, or Joel Kim Booster, who retracted his statement. We'll get into that for a second. And I could be wrong, but I'm curious, Sierra and Justin, who have been Bravo fans for a long time. I've only been a Bravo fan for a year, but I feel like I've cracked the code. And I'm shocked that so many housewives don't seem to understand, because Tamara and Alexis, even Heather, basically everyone at OC is acting confused as to why Shannon's getting the treatment that she's getting. And I think when it comes to Bravo Nation specifically, especially housewives, is that most of its fans, again, we are all imperfect people. And what do we want our housewives to be? We want them to be authentic. We want them to be messy, because what are we? We're also messy. And I think we love watching housewives who have these like very interesting lives, but at the end of the day, what they are is imperfect. And I feel like every housewife's best moment is when they're on the come up. It's right. You mentioned like you had a conspiracy theory not too long ago that's like some housewives get a DUI because it elevates them or makes them relevant. But I don't think it's so much the DUI. I think that's the vehicle, but it's the come up. Like, because we all fuck up at some point in our life, and we all want people to give us grace and forgiveness, and we all want a chance at redemption, to work on ourselves. And that's what we love most about our reality TV stars. It's when they really fuck up and they fix their shit, and they come through on the other side, because that gives us a little bit of hope for when we fuck up and we do the shit that we wish we didn't do, and we hope that people give us grace. That's when we love our reality TV stars. And it seems like the rest of the cast doesn't anticipate this or know this. Everyone else on the OC cast is trying to shit on Shannon's come up. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's trying to fix herself, work on herself, hold herself accountable. And she's seemingly doing that. Everyone along the way is trying to say, no, you suck, Shannon. No, you're bad, Shannon. No, you're messy, Shannon. And everyone and all the fans, we want no part of it, because it just seems mean and bully behavior. And I'm just kind of shocked that the rest of the cast doesn't understand kind of like the blueprint of a Bravo housewife, where it's like when someone's on the come up, like let them, like it's their time to shine. And like you can maybe critique their come up, but like what, I don't know. It seems like they're jumping on top of Shannon's come up and trying to beat her when she's down, and not trying to give her credit when she deserves some credit. And that's what we hate, honestly, so much about all the interactions with Shannon. It's not that we condone her drinking or think she's not messy anymore, or that she wasn't wrong for a DUI. We want to give this woman a chance to like work on herself or fix her shit. And no one in her circle wants to even give her a fucking chance. You got Tamara laughing at her.
Yes,
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
We got Alexis asking, when she did that red carpet with John Jansen last week, she was like, why don't people feel bad for me? I wish I was given an interview. I've been like, do you have 5 seconds? I can explain. Well, I wish she said that to me.
Yeah.
I'm honestly confused by this behavior. It's just like, what don't these people understand? I've been watching Housewives for like a year, and feel like I figured it out. What is so hard? to understand, to let this woman live. I don't know.
I will say I was talking to someone in the Bravo sphere recently who said Bravo loves a middle ground. And this like kind of made sense to me where it was like, if your life is doing good, if you're not like, if you're healthy, if you have a healthy relationship, they want to break you down. So they want to like say your husband's doing something
Cheating,
or there's someone
whatever.
cheating or whatever.
Mhm.
But then if you're below the middle ground, say you had a DUI or like you did something criminal activity, they want to bring you up.
You want to bring it up?
So they're going to give you the redemption arc. So it's like they want to bring everybody to this middle ground so that nobody looks too good or too bad.
On the same playing field.
And meanwhile,
Yeah.
Shannon's still down bad because you
Yeah.
have the John Jansons and Alexis of the world, and people want to see her get back to neutral, and none of her peers are letting her.
And
then-
Joel can boost
And
her.
Joel can boost her, which, by the way, Joel, like, love you, but if you're going to issue a statement where you wish someone ill on their life and you wish them nothing but horrible, horrible things, don't fucking backtrack that shit, man. Own that shit. Like, really? His statement, backtracking this? He looks like a fool. He does. He looks like an absolute fool to post this.
I mean, to originally say, I hope you suffer and like brings in her children
You're a
and
pathetic
like
drunk.
says
That's what I'm saying.
awful, terrible things about someone, and then to release the statement saying, go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's
An
go for it.
Instagram story.
So basically, a la the way he's communicating, he posts more stories, 2 parts. The first part says, "The housewives of it all. I've had a lot of time to think and process about this, and I wish I could say that I was not the guy who posted those statements on Instagram. But the fact is that I am. I let on and on set conflict cloud my judgment and access the darkest, ugliest part of myself and said things I don't stand by or even believe, and I am deeply sorry that I allowed my worst self to cloud my judgment." Part 2 says, "I know Shannon has had an extraordinarily hard year as she has bravely shared, and as someone who has struggles of their own that have spilled over into work. I should have had more grace for her in that moment. I'm deeply sorry for the ways in which I have made Shannon's road towards stability more difficult, and hope that she makes it out on the other side of this stronger, healthier, and with the love that she deserves in her life. I regret making this part of my story, of the story of our show, as I'm deeply proud of the work myself, the ladies, and the crew put into making it."
I hope he was forced to do this only because it's just like, again, for him to say what he did.
Yeah, it's like the damage is done. Like it's like you can't.
Are you that like, to me, I was such a big fan of him. Now I'm just like, you're just a reactive,
Yeah.
emotional, soft person.
Bully.
This is
Bully.
the PR. This is the cleanup.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, short of Bravo insisting him do this, just fucking stand on it and own it. Own that you said that.
I mean, I hope Shannon doesn't forgive him. I hope she has
no reason
I
to.
wouldn't.
She never works
Well,
with him again.
She already spoke out about it on her Vicky and Shannon live show where she briefly addressed it and was like, "It's confusing because you were crying your eyes out to me the same day, like the night before, and then you went on your Instagram." So I'm
So-
sure for her, it's like, this man's not reliable.
But him even saying that it's like his issues bleeding into his work, it kind of gives like reactive catty drunk girl that's like, I fucking got it. And then like
It
got
gives you're the
Yeah.
problem.
got reprimanded. And now it's like, yeah, you have a show that's going to be coming out soon. Nobody's going to forget about this moment. So you're going to have to put out this fake apology that you probably don't genuinely mean, but your job and the show continuing on depends on it.
I mean, I also honestly think that he probably thought posting that he was going to get all these people being like, "Oh my God, spill. What's let me see the videos." And if people were like, "What the fuck? This is so rude. This is messed up. Like, why would you say this about someone? She's had." And then he was like, let me apologize. This is not.
I apologize
y'all,
like 2 weeks later, too.
Yeah, like y'all didn't take this how I thought you would. So now I'm the bad guy and I don't want to be the bad guy.
And you didn't forget about it because you're probably still getting messages about it. And that's why 2 weeks later, it's like, all right, I guess Hail Mary.
Yeah, and an apology on an Instagram story too.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't
Classic,
have-
please.
Yeah.
Also, listen, if you guys are so right about Shannon, let it play out.
Let us see it.
Like, if you're so right about Shannon, just shut your mouth, support her. And then when she fucks up, like everyone is insisting that she inevitably is going to do, then let her do that. But like what you're doing now just makes everyone look like a bully.
Yeah.
Just look like a bully. Even Heather, for example, who like I've been wanting to defend the past couple of weeks. Like, I know exactly what Shannon meant when she's like, "My life's bleeding into a reality TV show," and then all of her peers righteously like, "Well, isn't this our lives, Shannon? Like, we're so real and
Yeah.
authentic." No, Heather. Last 2 weeks ago, you and again, I supported Heather in this because, like, listen, do I want my housewives to be authentic? But like, come on, let's not be fucking crazy to expect that every single bit of these people's lives, they owe us to put it on camera. That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. This isn't the fucking Truman Show. It's a reality TV show. things start and stop. Let's not be fucking crazy. And which is why, Heather, I'm fine with you having a little sidebar conversation with your husband, because like your marriage of 30 plus years and your kids is more important, goes beyond the authenticity of OC. So when Shannon's having a mental fucking breakdown and feel like every aspect of her life is being displayed on TV, maybe you don't get to righteously be like, isn't this all of our fucking lives? I mean, give me a fucking break.
Also, I cannot imagine how Shannon felt in that moment when she was so down bad. She was so in the trenches. She was so broken. She was not well. And she goes to Heather just looking to vent to someone, to talk to someone. And then Heather turning around being like, well, now I feel used. Feel used for what? Being a sounding board? Listening to your friend who's going through fucking hell, and you're gonna be like, well, I feel used. Like, Jen hit the nail on the hammer on the nail with the hammer on the head of the hammer.
She hit something.
She hit something, and Jen was right, being like, well, I don't want to be your friend if that's how you like treat friendships. Like, that's what you think friendships are.
Again,
Also, how
Heather
can you-
needs new friends. She should not be hanging out with these people.
You have to differentiate the difference between like if somebody's coming to confide in you and they're your best friend, like you have to understand that they may say something different in the public.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to back this up 100% because it's Shannon going to Heather and being like, a good friend of mine a few weeks later calls me and he's like, do you really like not think John heard anything? And she was like, you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, that's a good point, but I don't know. And then to go on Jeff Lewis and him ask her that, and she'd be like, I haven't thought about it.
Right.
Because a friend of hers brought this to her attention. And Shannon didn't come up with this theory all on her own.
Yeah.
And also, Shannon doesn't owe the public on a public forum to say the same thing
Exactly.
that she would say in confidence to her close friend.
Exactly.
I want to say too that like to your point, Nick, that all of these other housewives, this is 3 months of their life. The DUI is more than 3 months of Shannon's life.
Exactly.
Before and after. So it's like that's where Shannon's facing like her actual life outside of the show versus just the 3 months of them filming together.
And these women that want to talk about being authentic and whatnot, sorry, Heather and Tamara specifically, I'm like, do you know how terrible it looks that you go on somebody's birthday trip and within moments of checking into your room, you're already putting together a to-do list of how to ruin her night, how to ruin her trip?
And like,
Yeah.
can we stop pretending that Shannon's paying for this fucking trip? Like,
Truly.
like, come on. This is not. Like, have we moved on from pretending that WWF or WWE is real? It's not. Like, come on.
Truly,
Bravo.
the scarf.
And it's housewives. Stop fucking
the
doing that.
scarves.
Oh, if she can avoid a trip to fucking England, she can afford to pay John Jansen. No, Bravo's paying for it.
Yeah. I was like doing the math in my head, like 400 times like 6 scarves. It's
That's
a couple
$100,000
grand.
trip.
Like, you're not doing the most, and besides the fact, I've watched like influencer things where it's like they're being gifted.
I was going to say, I'm
Hermes
sure
bracelets.
Louis
Burberry
Vuitton.
was
If it's
like, we
branded,
love
if
to.
there's signage on a TV show, it's been organized by the fucking show.
Thank you.
It's like, oh, what hotel are they staying at? Oh, that one. Oh,
Sure.
okay. Well, that's been, and then it was gifted. When it's like when
They
any
showed
brand
the
is highlighted,
JetBlue first class.
Yes.
gifted,
Heather talking on the thing. like-
gifted, not Shannon. Jesus, come on, people. This is amateur hour. I thought we're professionals watching this shit. God.
I really hope, I mean, we got the teaser for next episode. I really hope Jen just stands up for herself against Tamara, because this whole like her digging in Ryan's past is like, it feels really messy. I don't like it. I mean, I think Jen can make her own decisions. If she's with a bad guy, she's with a bad guy, and she's the one who's going to have to deal with the consequences, not Tamara.
Maybe so, but I am frustrated with Jen for bringing this person on our television set. He doesn't deserve it.
He sucks for sure. But he's not my man.
Yep.
He's not Tamara's man.
No, I get it, and you're right about that. It's just, but we do have to watch it, and we do have like
Well,
it
thankfully-
is hard to have empathy for Jen when we want to have empathy for this person. Jen's easy to have empathy for, and we want her to have a better life, but she is making it very difficult on herself, and it's just hard to root. It's hard to root for someone who refuses to help themselves.
Yeah.
It's just hard. It is.
I
She's
wanna-
blinded. She's giving Brittany from
Salt Lake.
Yeah. Well, let's say I want to hear Jen talk about her situation outside of the housewives, outside of pressure to talk.
But wait, what about the smoking
Curious what
gun
she would
text
say.
message?
That was awesome.
That was so
Yeah.
freaking
When Shannon was
awesome.
like, "This is a smoking fucking gun."
Honestly,
we were
I'm,
like, we stood
were.
up in the living room. She was so-
Shannon needed
did it.
something. Shannon
Yes.
needed something because no one's believing her. No one has her back. And to finally be like, I'm not the liar. Like, look at this. Like, here is proof. It made me so happy for her.
Actually, Zach, go ahead and play Alexis's interview with John Zanson last week.
Any regrets? Anything about that was shared? Any regrets that you're having?
I don't have a regret.
Well, I think Lex regrets sharing anything about the videos.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any regrets.
And
Well, you
restate,
do, actually.
I'm the one that has the videos, and nothing has ever come out of my mouth that I was ever going to show them to anybody. That was never a possibility.
The funny thing is, I thought I did that off camera. Like you filmed for 12 hours.
It's so
and I was
funny.
with my girlfriends, my good girlfriends. You think you do something, and then it's like, oh shoot, the cameras were rolling. I didn't even remember that. I didn't. I told the friends about them. off camera.
Bullshit. No, you didn't.
And so
You said it several different times, several different people.
Your good girlfriends that you haven't seen in 5 years.
Going through all of this, do you have any empathy for Shannon?
It's a long
she
interview.
Wants to be on a show
This is
now.
the best part.
With you have to have.
No, hold on. Does anyone have empathy for me?
Wait, keep
No.
What
it.
about
this
me?
is the-
I had to be on a show, just lost my mom, wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping, was barely getting out of bed, filmed a show, and still put on my
Then
big girl
don't
panties to go film with
film.
his ex-girlfriend, which is just as hard. So I'm tired of hearing about that.
That was my next question.
I have sympathy for her, but at the same time, it's like
That was my next question.
I had to do a really freaking hard job, and I got beat down the entire season.
Aww. Aww.
I wish I was there when she's like, why don't people have sympathy for me? I've been like, well, I can help. John, if you're listening, buddy, if you want a platform, if you need to,
Ugh, I
Not
don't even
let
want
Lex-
him on this
No.
couch.
I do.
can't.
No.
No,
Come on.
him saying
he's not going to come on.
John Jansen saying he doesn't have a voice is a fucking lie.
Cop-out.
It's a cop out.
Yeah.
You were on an ITM. You had an interview. You have a voice. You have the option
Watch what
to
happens live,
come
mic'd
in
up.
and talk to these people, talk to Shannon face to face. You don't want to. You don't want to do that. You want to feed it to Alexis and have Alexis go and do your dirty work. That's the truth of it. You can fight that all you want, but that's the truth of it.
And then she's embarrassed.
And-
where she's like, I didn't regret. No, you did regret
No,
something.
you
So now
did.
he's like patronizing her too.
And
Coaching, like Shannon said. He
And
does.
Alexis, no, we don't have sympathy for you. I am sorry your mom passed away, but apparently you chose to film. That was an option. You could have grieved your mother longer if you wanted to. You opted, and good for you, to move on and film with someone you didn't have to, as a friend, by the way, for someone who's like an OG housewife, like Shannon, like she is arguably OC housewives. You're just a fucking friend.
And her being like, I tried to come and film amicably. I tried. You're suing her. You're actively threatening her with these videos, and to be like, I forgot. I didn't know that the cameras were recording. You said it to several different women in several different occasions constantly.
But the lies
you
have to
forgot
stop.
every single time that the camera was right there in front of your face. Every time you
Also,
forgot.
Didn't the man offer you to pay you the salary of not going on this show? Like in post for you going on this show? So
Allegedly,
therefore,
yeah.
you could have not and healed at home, been with your future husband, but instead you chose to come on this show, and then now you want to garner sympathy from us because it didn't go the way you thought it was going
That would have
to.
been a
Which is
loan.
So crazy. Oh yeah, because he was he going to give her the money or loan her the money
Loan her
for
the
not
money.
going?
Well,
on?
careful. For it after.
There you
Careful.
go.
I don't even think anyone in the court of public opinion really even gives a shit, like, if John gave her or loaned her the money, because I think, like, listen, when you're in a romantic relationship and money is exchanged like that, especially when it comes to when you're paying for plastic surgery for your partner, I think most people don't really care.
My sister has said this for years now. Anytime you loan anyone money, you do not expect it back. You just don't. You're giving someone money. You might say this is a loan, but you can't be like, hey, where's that money? Hey, where's that money? Hey, where's that money? You just have to be like, all right, I'm gonna give you these $2,000, $5,000, $75,000, and like, fuck it, whatever. Like,
I mean,
you can't expect it back.
you can.
Unless
but
you notarize the contract.
Sure,
But
unless you
I
have
get what you're
a
saying.
like,
Yeah,
you
I'm like-
can't like.
I don't doubt that there was a conversation. It's clearly wasn't as official as John's trying to imply, and maybe John wasn't like, happy birthday, I'm paying for it, but like, I just don't think we care.
No.
Whether she technically owes it to him or not, I'm still team Shannon. Even if John proves that like there was a conversation where Shannon's like, yeah, I mean, can you loan me this? I guess I really don't care anymore.
I don't
this
either.
point.
I'm just glad that Shannon was able to prove that Alexis was a part of the original lawsuit and that she's most likely behind pushing this lawsuit as well, pretending to be this like victim in the situation. That's like, it's just so hard because I just really want Johnny J's name to be cleared. And it's like, if you both just shut up, we wouldn't be talking about him.
So many Bravo storylines seem to be pushed by lawsuits.
Yeah.
You know?
Right now, yeah.
You
Should we
know,
get into Salt Lake City?
we should.
Yes. Ugh.
Jillian, Justin?
What's wrong,
Rihanna's
Justin?
favorite
No,
show.
and this was a good episode. It opened with like the whole like sitcom montage.
Oh, yeah, that
Laverne
was
and Shirley.
cute,
Love
yeah.
that
And this
from
is-
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
that was fun.
Milwaukee, yeah. How did you feel?
I felt great
Milwaukee.
about it.
Yeah.
I felt really good.
Milwaukee.
Laverne and Shirley, a very
Milwaukee.
popular sitcom in the 60s. Two girlfriends working at Miller Brewing, or was it Blatz, or one of the
Miller Valley Beer
Miller.
Caves.
Miller Valley Brewery. Okay, well that was great.
Which Nick has never been, even though
I've never been to the caves.
Why?
Yeah,
You haven't tried the Dom Perignon of beer?
Oh, the Champagne of beers.
Yeah.
Miller High Life. I worked at Miller Brewery as an intern.
Did
What?
you?
I
You
might have
never-
been to the caves. Actually, I might have. I
had
don't
to.
think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it's as big of a deal as they made it out.
It wasn't a
to be.
selling
Okay.
point tour as it is now.
I love a cave.
Yeah. Period.
Absolutely. How can we get through to Brittany? Sweet Brittany.
Was
honey.
who said they were Team Brittany here?
Probably me. Probably me.
Of course.
I am.
Why?
I feel
like
like I am
her.
too.
Nah, when she went after Brawin, that was like not cool
Yeah,
and
okay.
unnecessary.
She was just
and like
deflecting.
Oh,
Take
about
out the Brahman of it all, like the whole love situation. I feel like she's in love, but like with the wrong man, and she's used to toxic.
I don't know
treatment.
how old Brittany is, but she's old enough to know better.
Yeah.
And listen, everyone goes through relationship struggles, but if you're going to constantly vent to your friends or just people around you, even if they're not your friends, about your messy life and your poor decisions, and if many of those conversations are similar to the ones you had, I don't know, a week ago or a month ago, and you kind of contradict yourself, you deserve some criticism, and you don't get to attack someone else's marriage just because you didn't like their line of questioning. I thought Brawin's comments were, direct, sure,
Yeah,
but fair.
Yeah.
And you don't like. I'm not even saying Brawin's marriage is perfect. I'm sure, like every other marriage, they have their own shit they're dealing with. But Brawin doesn't show up every fucking day and talk about her relationship or vent about her relationship or cry to her friends about her relationship. And she is seemingly dating a terrible human being.
It is also just like, I feel like it's hard to back her when usually you can be like, he's just like fucking with my head. Like he's just like doing one thing and saying another, or like whatever. He is very much like friendship. Hey bestie, hey BFF, this is a friendship. Hey friend, hey, like he is very much friend zoning her.
yeah. Well, then we're officially broken up,
But-
but never
But she hasn't
told
told
him. Never told
So
him.
she's
that.
not officially broken up.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it is I'm sorry, when you give someone who doesn't deserve a chance an endless amount of chances and there's no redeeming quality about how they treat you, then it's going to beg questions like, why are you giving this person so many opportunities?
Yeah.
Like, that is Brittany's fault, not Brawin's fault for bringing it up. And so when she asks a very fair question, it's just like, is it him or is it like who he is? And she obviously finds that being very triggering and very offensive. And then she goes after Brawin in a way that was just not right or fair.
It was kind of iconic though. The switch up.
You're talking about someone's husband versus somebody's fling.
It
And Bronwyn
backfired.
being like, honey, you can't question
Let's
my
talk
marriage if you
about
don't
it.
even
No.
know my husband's name.
That was
Yeah.
iconic.
And she was
No,
also like,
that was
let's talk
iconic.
about it. You want to talk about my marriage? It's
Yeah.
perfect. So great.
I think
Let's
it was
do
like
it.
an iconic argument. I'm not saying I supported one or the other, but her being, what's his name?
I mean, it's classic housewife. I
It's
mean,
like,
listen, it was Brittany and Brawin like saying, "Hey, we belong." This was their belong moment in terms of
Facts.
housewives.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you
Nick,
know,
to your point, I feel like where Brittany went wrong is like you can be in love with the wrong man. Like that sucks for you. It really does. But like nobody can fault you for being in love with somebody who you shouldn't be in love with. Like, sometimes people fall in love. Where she's going wrong is, we all have that one friend who like keeps breaking up with her boyfriend or her partner. But the problem is like she keeps bringing her friends into it, and like her friends are devoting all of their time to this story.
I mean, that is just classic toxic relationship syndrome. I feel like, we've all been there where you're like, oh my God, he did this, he did this, he did this. And then your friends are like, break up with him. And you're like, well, actually, we're back together and we're so in love. And like,
Yeah.
let's go have dinner together, or let's go to the movies and hang out, but act normal because like we're good now.
and I'm
it's a
sorry,
very-
Brittany's over the age of 50. Is that safe to say? I don't know. She's over the age of 40. I don't know how old she is, but again, like at some point, you have to stop acting like a 22-year-old. And when you don't, you need tough feedback. The problem with Brittany is she hasn't surrounded herself with people up into this point in her life that have sat her down and said, stop this behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point in Brittany's life, 100% of her problems are her problems. They just are. You don't get to be that old and make these types of choices and these types of mistakes with these types of problems and not have to look in the mirror. I'm sorry. Like, she is giving 21-year-old girl dealing with fuckboys.
I see
Yeah.
it the same as like Jen from OC. where I feel like maybe she was in like this controlling relationship before, or like she was taken care of and she never had to mature on her own, and now she's grown and having to do it.
But there's plenty of resources out there. She has enough of friends pointing out this behavior. I mean, Brittany seems like an intelligent, self-aware person most of the time when she's not talking about her relationships. Like at some point you have to like stop playing the victim in your own story and start asking yourself if like maybe I can make different choices. And Brittany is a broken record.
Meredith strikes again with her rumors, but she's not spreading rumors.
Not spreading rumors, Meredith.
She's just relaying the message to everyone else in the group,
which is called gossip.
Whitney didn't want to hear it from Meredith, so she had to tell everyone else so that they would.
Yes.
Which also, to clarify, Alibaba and AliExpress, Alibaba is like catered to like wholesale business versus AliExpress is more catered to like consumer.
And again, when Heather brings this up to Whitney, she is again speaking as if Whitney is allegedly doing something horrible when Heather also admits to just being the one relaying the message. And it's just like, why are you having this conversation with Whitney as if it's a matter of fact, when it's clearly not a matter of fact, it's a matter of opinion?
No, I think Heather actually navigated that conversation quite well. I think it was very much like, this is what Meredith came and told me. And like, I don't think she was saying like these are facts. I think she was just saying like what Meredith said, like that could be a stain on your business.
But last week's episode, when she was doing what Meredith was doing, which is like also gossiping and also relaying the gossip while saying I'm not gossiping.
But she's relaying it to the person.
Yeah, she's going straight to it. If she went to Angie and was like, Angie, like, did you hear about Whitney's business? Like, maybe you should say something.
Maybe we don't know the order of it, but the first time I heard it out of Heather's mouth was in her private confessional. So she said it to us, the audience, and she talked about Whitney's business, us, the audience, and accused her.
Yeah, but babe, that would have been after.
You know ITMs.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you're still gossiping. And like, if you're gonna,
she is. Well,
you just are. That's great. I'm just saying. Fine, she talked to Whitney. I think she's still gossiping.
Also, to your point, they shot the confessional after this conversation would have like happened allegedly. So then it's like you would think that her saying after the fact this is damaging information.
Yeah,
is
she'd
still
be like, you know what,
so,
I got it wrong. I shouldn't be, and she chose not to.
She
and that's fine.
Down,
She, Heather wanted a housewife. She wanted to do her job, and just because you do your job, like we recognize that Tamara does her job.
Yeah.
You still get to get criticized because doing her job makes her more money. If she wants to choose money over, I don't know, us thinking that she's not messy or, she has a character above a certain level, then fine too. But that's a choice that these women make as housewives.
Yeah. It was sad though, because like this is the Laverne and Shirley of it all with Whitney and Heather is supposed to be them coming back together because they used to be bad weather, which was like their whole best friend duo bit thing. And like now they're together, but then Heather and like Meredith are kind of sabotaging that at the same time.
Did we miss them making up?
No, so that's the thing that they always go back and forth of like, we're best friends. And then it's like, we hate each other the next
I was a little
episode.
confused. There was a lot of this episode, I felt like there was a bit of a glitch in the Matrix. It felt like they were trying to force a bit of a storyline. Like it didn't make sense to me that Whitney was so upset with Lisa for not coming to the cave expedition, only to find out that her friend ended up going with Lisa to the curling thing, and then that Meredith went with Whitney to the cave thing. It's just like, wait, I thought it was Team Lisa, Meredith, and Heather. It just seemed like, and then I don't know, and then like Whitney pretended to be fake mad at Melee. She pretended to be mad at Melee, but she clearly wasn't that mad. It's just like it felt like in the middle of the episode they were trying to force a storyline.
It is the Matrix
that didn't really add up.
Yeah, no. When you say that it's a housewife is doing housewife, like. It's housewifing, whatever you said before. I feel like Whitney's the one doing it in this episode. I feel like, to me, Heather was not gossiping. I felt like she was doing the right thing by going to her friend Whitney to tell her, Meredith's spreading some damaging rumors about your business. But I feel like Whitney announcing it in the Sprinter van after she said she wouldn't announce it in the Sprinter van was her housewife.
No, but this is canon. So this is canon for Salt Lake City, where every Sprinter van, there's got to be something that happens. So like the women know that they're doing this because even like season 3 reunion, they entered in a Sprinter van. So it's like if you're ever in a Sprinter van, you know something's going to happen as the cast.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm very, again, Team Whitney here, because like when you get fed a rumor about you that is triggering, the person telling you the rumor doesn't get to ask you not to defend yourself. You don't get to be like, don't tell anyone.
Or to tell you to...
don't tell anyone. She
you
said,
don't get
don't do it
You don't get to pick the time or the place in which that person gets to defend himself either. When the entire people when the whole room of the people who have been talking shit about you and are in the same room, that's the perfect time to bring it up.
Let's talk about it right now.
Yeah. I don't think you can ask, but like, and no one does. None of us would. We would all be like, no, fuck it, I'm going to bring it up now. I don't, yeah.
The crazy thing to me was Angie K going against Lisa at the dinner, and then Lisa being like, bringing up her daughter, essentially.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, that was wild. I was like,
what was wild is that everyone, when Lisa brought up her daughter, I really respected that all the, it seemed like the rest of the cast was like, oh, you fucked up.
Off
like,
limits.
you don't
Too
get
far.
to do that. The too far, not cool.
It was also just like a weird fucking argument
Turn.
to throw in there. It's
Thank
like,
you.
go call your daughter. Like,
of course.
Okay.
That was-
like, sorry, I get off the phone with you when my daughter's calling me.
After
you want me to
2-hour conversation?
after I don't care if it's 5 minutes. If my daughter's like, "Hey, mom, sorry, Lisa Barlow, I have to go."
Yeah.
100% of the time, we are going to prioritize our daughter over literally everyone, including our coworkers.
Yeah, so that felt weird that Lisa was like, "Just why don't you just go call Electra?" It's
That
like,
was the closest thing
it's
you're
like,
ever
no,
going to
I
get to an immediate
will.
apology
Yeah.
from Lisa.
Yeah. Angie's clapback was iconic too, though.
What was her clapback?
I'm a responsible mother who pays attention to my child.
Period.
Yes.
No name drop of the child. She just said that. And I was
My
like,
child.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
I felt like the fact that Mary was the one being like, "I feel like you two love each other," was very just off-brand, and I left it.
And then
for
the second Brittany spoke, she was like,
yeah.
Oh, when she rolls her eyes at
I was
Brittany,
like, stop
it's
talking.
so good.
it makes sense though. Brittany filled the slot that Whitney had with Mary. Like, Mary would always get irritated by anything Whitney did or said. So now Mary loves Whitney and now she hates Brittany.
I feel like there is no one, and I stand by Rihanna saying Salt Lake City is the best franchise because I feel like there is no one like Mary. There's no one with humor. There's no one funny on any of the other. Like, some of them have like a funny moment, but everything that comes out of Mary's mouth is funny.
She was made for reality
I
television.
will-
Truly.
I will say in my head, Chanel Ayon from Dubai, like, she's similar. Like, not the
I
same.
haven't
Nobody
watched
can
enough
compare
of
it, but
Dubai. I
like
haven't watched
anything
enough of
Chanel
Dubai.
says is like a soundbite that's out of pocket or like
Okay.
whatever. Like, it's funny, you know?
Wit, a little clap back.
Yeah.
Justin, you're into fashion, you're into art.
With purple hair.
The hot dog bitch.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the fuck was
Oh
that?
my
Like, can you
Even
defend
Mary's
this?
like, this is not couture. This is a costume.
She's like, the heart was couture.
Yeah.
This shit is a costume.
I would give Bronwyn 5 minutes to give me a history lesson or something, and if she convinced me, I'd be like,
She
it was
did.
on the runway
Yeah.
of Moschino,
Yeah,
and I am the only one in design of
And this is-
Moschino who have it.
It was very ugly. I agree.
But that's the thing. It's just like if your whole fashion aesthetic or taste is based off of like red carpet shows or runways,
You can't afford this.
or that's not fashion.
No, it
Like,
gets
that's
gimmicky, yeah,
that's
for sure.
gimmicky. That's commercializing art and fashion, which I guess there's it's
Same thing,
necessary to a certain extent. But if your barometer is simply it was at a fashion show,
There are misses at fashion shows.
yeah, all the time.
I would give her 1 5-minute in-person conversation. I'd be like, convince me, tell me why this is like different or good.
Okay.
And if she failed, she failed. If she doesn't, she doesn't.
Okay.
Because
I mean-
I compare her to Sutton also, because Sutton's entrance to Beverly Hills was the same. Like, I only wear couture, but like her couture was good looking. It wasn't
Well,
a
even
hot
then,
dog.
now she's back down to teddy bear sweatshirt.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So-
Clearly loaded, but yeah, that's the thing. It's almost her being loaded just means like just because you can spend money
Doesn't mean it's fashion.
on expensive dumb things doesn't make it cool.
Yeah, and I don't blame her for having the outfit. Just wear it
I
on
do.
Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a normal
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Can
Wear
I
it
tell
here.
y'all something that pisses me off about my amazing husband?
Oh.
He was born when there was black and white TV.
Yes, that. But it doesn't really piss me off.
Should we
It's
keep
more
guessing?
so. Ooh. That's so
That was a
fucked up.
Bronwyn reference.
So fucked
Just
up.
clarify.
So no,
Clarify.
it'll be anytime we're watching anything.
Ah, yes.
Yes, and say there's an argument between, and you're like, oh, this is about to get good. Nick's like, well, I just think that like because she's saying that, and I'm like, shut up! I
Yes.
can't hear the argument.
Connor does that too.
No, well, I just think, well, because she's saying, and I'm like, shh.
You gotta pause it, look at them. The floor is yours.
Please continue.
And then they're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Like, no, we'll watch. You hit play. I just think, and it's like, just get through the 5-minute segment.
Why do you feel like you do that?
Do you spoil things too?
He's so quiet.
He's not going to speak.
But why do you feel like you do that, honey?
He wants to feel belonging. He's giving into the passion.
It's just on the tip of my tongue.
Can you write a note?
He'll forget if he
Because I
doesn't
want
say
to
it.
talk to you.
That is not
Aw.
why.
Wait, question, Natalie. Is there one show that like you have to watch and not be interrupted?
I mean, it's like all of these reality TV
Okay.
shows that it's like it's homework. We've got to recap them on the show. And it's like, these are parts we've got to pay attention to because we've got to dissect it. And he's like giving me what he would say on the show. And I'm like, we can't, this isn't the time for that. We have to finish the argument first.
You're his Heather Dubrow. He needs a soundboard.
Thank you.
Do you know what Danny does? If we're watching something and it starts to get tense, he'll just mute the TV.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, hello? He's like,
No.
I can't. I'm like, are you kidding
Then
me?
walk away.
That's
is
crazy.
He just
crazy.
mutes it. I'm like, no. I'm like, what happened?
He's like, now we'll never know.
And then I'm like, what's going on? And I just see him sitting in the corner with the remote. And I'm just like, Danny.
That's funny.
That's crazy. Speaking of crazy, Love is Blind is crazy, and we're about
Yes.
to get into it with Jillian Turecki and Hannah. Hey, it's getting cooler out there. Fall is approaching. Make sure you have comfortable, cozy sheets on your bed and do it with Brooklinen. Brooklyn's super high quality products have been tested and awarded by experts, including Good Housekeeping, GQ, Wirecutter, and more. They have amazing products, especially their sheets and bedding.
Nothing is better than Brooklinen's flannel sheets for fall and winter. They are warm, they are cozy, they are soft. Nothing makes me want to crawl into bed more than Brooklinen sheets.
Brooklinen has over 200,000 five-star reviews and counting, and you don't get 200,000 five-star reviews without being awesome. Their quality, their prices, everything about Brooklinen is top-notch and truly unbelievable. I often call it the eighth wonder of the world because I can't believe their pricing and their quality. Usually you get one or the other, but not with Brooklinen. You get everything under the sun.
They offer everything you need to style your dream bed with layers and textures. They have amazing throws and blankets to build your dream bed your way. Customizable bundles make it easy to refresh your bed and bathroom, putting everything you need in one place. Brooklinen's value is the best, even helping you save when you bundle.
So refresh your space today with Brooklinen's award-winning textures, layers, and home essentials. Visit in-store or online at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Get 15% off your first order today. Again, that's brooklinen.com. Here at the Viall Files, we are obsessed with Skims. I'm wearing their underwear as we speak. Natalie loves wearing her Skims, and I'm obsessed with the men's products too. Like I said, their underwear is so good. Seriously, if you haven't tried the brand yet, what are you waiting for?
There's nothing worse than an underwire bra. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just nothing worse. And every time that I wear Skims bras, I get home and I used to immediately take my bra off. Now I'm like, no, I'll live in this. It's totally fine. I finally found underwire bras that I actually love, and safe to say that underwire bras are back. Skims underwire bras are so comfortable. They don't even feel like underwire bras. They're seamless, they're cozy, they're comfortable. I have the wireless form t-shirt bra, the Fits Everybody push-up bra because push-up bras are back, I'm here to tell you, and the no-show balconette bra. All of them are incredible. You can't go wrong.
I love my Skims bra. It does genuinely feel like I'm not wearing anything. I am so comfortable but supported all at the same time. I'm not going to lie, they're sexy. They look great.
Yes, they do.
Shop Skims bras at skims.com. Now available in 62 sizes from 30A to 46H. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know that we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Again, that's skims.com. Dreamland Baby creates award-winning, gently weighted sleep solutions to help babies feel calm, fall asleep faster, and stay asleep longer.
Ever since we started using the Dreamland weighted sleep sack for River, she sleeps so good. She's sleeping through the night. It's been so helpful. It just feels, I feel like it feels just like we have a hand on her, or we're just hugging her as she sleeps. It's perfectly distributed weight throughout the shoulders to the toes, and it has a double two-sided zipper. So middle of the night changes,
Super
early morning
easy to
changes.
change, middle of the night.
So easy.
No problem.
It's also made of quality materials, so it's super soft and it holds up well after each wash.
Because we wash it a lot because, babies will baby. It's 100% soft and natural cotton. River loves it. We love it even more. Nothing is better than your baby falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer. And the Dreamland Baby Sleep Sack is definitely helping in that department. Go to dreamlandbabyco.com and enter our code VIALL at checkout to receive 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. This offer is for new and existing customers. Again, that's dreamlandbabyco.com and use our code VIALL for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Well, let's welcome her to the show, Jillian Turecki. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having
And
me.
we're excited to have you. We obviously love Love is Blind and all the crazy relationship dynamics that happen on it. And so it's always fun to bring in a relationship expert to help break down all these dynamics. And you are well known in that space. You got a new book coming out. It Begins With You.
It Begins With You.
Tell us a little bit about the book, and
Okay.
then let's get into Love is Blind.
The book was born out of the fact that I went through a lot of trauma a little over 10 years ago, with the breakup of my marriage and the death of my mother, and all sort of happening at the same time. And I had been working for 20 years, working with people. I was a yoga teacher and worked with people on their pain and even on their relationships. But when the breakup of my marriage happened, that was like, I could not believe it. I was like, how am I here in this position? You know, I thought I was going to do the work. I thought, I loved him. But I always say that before we got married, so our relationship pre-marriage was about 90% great and 10% not bad. And the thing is that 10% was actually very significant because no relationship is perfect. And then when we got married, that 10% became the 90%. And then 90% became the 10%. So it was very difficult. I didn't have the tools, though I thought I did. I was not raised in a family where I was taught or modeled the tools. And when it ended very abruptly, I was devastated, does not even begin to describe it. So I went into a very, very deep, dark night of the soul. And I had to figure out a way to get myself out of it. And I hired people and I worked with people. And I also really wanted to understand like why I was in the position of this happening, going through a divorce, all the societal and cultural conditioning of like being a certain age and divorce and all that pain that goes with it, right? I just wanted to figure it out. And I did with mentors and teachers. And I thought, this is something that I have to teach to others. And so part of it was just a way to distract myself. But I started working with people, couples first, because the couples therapy that he and I had was so bad. And I'm glad I'm not with him. I'm not supposed to be with him. So two things can be true at the same time. And the couples therapy that we had was terrible. And I thought there has to be another way because this model doesn't work, at least in my experience. I know for some people it works. This was bad. And so I thought I'm going to do this. This is what I'm actually born to do. And so I started working with hundreds of couples. And then I was like, okay, I want to work actually with more individuals, women and men looking for love, some coming out of helping people recover from divorce or heartbreak. And it was like, I just found my calling. And then I just knew there was a book in me, and people approached me to write the book. And I just thought, what if I could, because the book It Begins With You, the 9 hard truths about love that will change your life. And I thought, if there were, 5, 10, 9, like how many principles or core truths would I want to leave behind for people of wherever they are in their, even for happily married people, right? Like, what do I want to leave behind? And so that's what this book is. And so, yeah, I turned a big mess into something very meaningful.
What made your breakup so difficult for you in the moment that made you think, I can't believe this is happening to me?
That's a good question. I got married to him when I was 38. And so I had this belief that because I'm meeting someone later, I put that in big quotation marks, later in life and not, my early 20s or my mid 20s, just my 20s in general, that would actually set me up for greater success. And I thought, well, I'm a good person. And I learned that being a good person has nothing to do with relationship success, actually. I mean, being a good person is important, but it doesn't guarantee you the relationship that you want, because you have to have skills and you have to have self-worth and you have to know how to choose the right partner. And that's very important. That's more than half the battle. And so I just thought my whole blueprint about love was you meet someone, you're compatible, which we were, and you feel good and you're attracted and there's chemistry, and there's a few other things that fall into place. You just get married. Never once did I consider, the way that you were, like your childhood and your trauma and my trauma, like that doesn't work. Or never once did I consider there were certain red flags, if you will, that I ignored. And I didn't have the tools. So what made it so hard was because the marriage only lasted 2 years. So I thought, I'm 40 and I'm divorced. No one's going to want me. That was like a core belief. That was very untrue, but it was a core belief. I'm divorced. You know, the weight that you feel on your shoulders from being divorced, which is absolutely ridiculous because some relationships don't work out and they shouldn't, and that is okay. Maybe you should celebrate after a divorce, because if you're getting divorced from someone, chances are for a very long time before that divorce, you were not happy and you were stressed out. And so if you're finally free from that, isn't that something to celebrate rather than to walk around feeling shame? And obviously there's a lot to learn because, you know, it takes two to tango and it's not 50-50 in terms of what destroys a relationship. But, you know, most cases, both people have to be able to acknowledge the dysfunction that they brought to the relationship that led to its demise, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of learning to do and a lot of growing up to do. But yeah, I had these beliefs that I was like, that life was over as opposed to the reality, which was that life was just beginning.
Why did you feel like the couples therapy hurt more than it should have helped?
Yeah. So the couples therapy, so when I work with people, and particularly when I work with couples, I'm very direct and I'm not afraid to take sides. And when I take sides, I'm never disrespectful at all. Mm-hmm. You should never be disrespectful when you're working with people. But sometimes it's one person in the relationship who's causing more friction. And that person has to be aware of that. And in the couples therapy, it was just like, we were not held accountable. And if you're not held accountable, you cannot improve your relationship. If you are not accountable, even if your contribution to whatever is not working is this, you know, just a little bit, and your partner's is this, you still have to be accountable. And there was no one saying, like, no one being real with us and being like, look, this is how I see it. This is what's going on. And the two of you are acting like kids or whatever, like this is not cool. And it was just a little too much. Oh, let me translate what you're saying so that this person understands. It's like, no, you have to, depending on the couple and depending on the issue and depending how intense the issue is and how serious the issue is, you have to be willing to go really deep. I worked with a couple and they were actually in a good place, but they wanted a little brush up on just strengthening their communication skills. They had recovered from an infidelity. He cheated and they're still together and they're better than ever. They said the therapist that they went to was so tough. I mean, she said it was like, I had to like prepare for war, but it's what saved their marriage.
Oh, wow.
It's what saved their marriage. They had to get really real with each other. Like all the cards out on the table, like everyone telling the truth, because here's the thing, we don't typically tell the truth. We're too afraid. We don't want to rock the boat. It's very vulnerable. Where a lot of people are too busy blaming their partner, because most people, they come to a therapy couch with their couple or coach's couch, whatever. And really what they're thinking is, I hope this person can fix my partner so I can be happy. And that typically is what's happening. Instead of, no, when you change, that's what's going to change everything. And if by you changing, the dynamic doesn't shift, or meaning sometimes it takes one person to change and it influences the other person to change. Sometimes it's one person to change and you have so much influence over the relationship. One person has so much influence over their relationship. You both have so much influence. And so it begins with you.
Before we start breaking down these couples and get your take on all of them, can you share with us a couple of your hard truths about love that you can find in the book?
Yes. So one is it begins with you, which is not about shame or blame. It's about, if you want, regardless of where you are in your love life, if you're single or you're married or in a relationship or you're just getting out of a relationship, you have to be the change that you want to see in your life in general and in your love life. So it's about getting very curious about what your patterns are. You know, I worked with someone who, her core belief when she came to see me was all men cheat. And through time working together, what I was able to help her realize inside of herself is, no, it's not that all men cheat, is that I'm choosing men who cheat. And I'm choosing men who have a lot of problems. Like the red flags are very, very clearly there. Like cheating is only one dimension of the multitude of problems that they bring to the relationship. Okay, so then what has to change in me? Well, I have to be okay with being alone until I meet someone right. I have to be okay with, I have to look at my pattern. So that's really important. Another really important truth that I think your audience will resonate with is that lust is not the same thing as love. We don't, as a society, I don't think that we have, love is a very hard thing to define, right? Because it has different meaning for everyone. And it has different, like the love that you experience when you're falling in love with someone is a very different love that you experience years in. It deepens, it changes, and the meaning that you assign to it changes. And when people first meet, as I'm sure, both are very aware, everyone here is aware, is like when you're feeling all that strong connection in the beginning, that's chemistry. That is lust. That's not actually that's not how you build a relationship. A relationship needs trust, it needs safety. And so being able to process that when you meet someone, like part of bringing more of a sense of self, right? Because every relationship, everyone needs to bring a sense of self to the relationship. If you're waiting to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever. If you're waiting to feel completely whole on your own and that bullshit that's being thrown out, no. The stronger sense of self that you have going into a relationship, the greater chance you have of it being a success. And even if it's not a success, at least it doesn't turn into a complete nightmare. And so people, what they do is they think this person is the one. So I demystify the one, which I think is a really, this idea of the one and romanticism and all these things, like they actually do us quite a disservice when it comes to relationships. And so I demystify the one. I try to explain in the best way because, I don't have all the answers, but in the best way that I know what it means to love someone versus something that's really just chemical, and being able to differentiate the two.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting hearing you speak, and I feel like you agree because a lot of stuff we talk about on this show, I always talk about, especially meeting people or the one. And it's like so much about love or what we see out there on TV shows, movies, our society basically is suggesting that we just have to find the one. And then once you do, the work stops almost, which is like literally the exact opposite of how you make a relationship work. It's like you meet someone, great, you have some fun, there's a honeymoon phase, and then the work begins. Yep. Because to make a relationship work, you have to wake up every day on some level, choose each other and figure out. It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice every day. Do I want to make this work? Do I not? Do I want to be this person or not? Could I do something, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so much of everyone out there pursuing love, like wants to find that person so they can stop trying so hard or working or whatever it is. They have this fantasy of like
rescued.
Yeah. It's just like, well, dating sucks so much. I just want to meet someone so I can just like be done with it all. It's like, what? Well, that's shit, man. That's when it really starts. That's when it really starts. Yeah. So, yeah. Because like other than that, you can kind of do whatever you want. So totally. Very fascinating. I'm very into everything you're saying. Be sure to check it out. The book is called
It Begins With You.
It Begins With You. Available for pre-order out in January 14th, 2025. All right, let's get into.
I'm so excited to hear your takes.
Love is Blind.
So excited.
I'm really excited to talk about it.
Who are your favorites? Who do you feel like you kind of can see not working out or working out?
Can I go into like a real wormhole here? Because it's one of my favorite things.
Dig.
So Taylor might be one of my favorite people to ever be on Love is Blind. I find her, I mean, of course, this show, it's like, do you ever really know anyone? Not really. It's edited, like, I find her to be very grounded, very kind, kind of very normal. And, very pretty, like the whole package. And so far, I think there's going to be some drama coming this week, but so far, I really like the two of them. I really like them. Let's get into Hannah and Nikki D. I call him Nikki D.
Nikki D.
He loves that.
Yeah.
He's introducing himself.
He loves it. What I will say is that I think the both of them are too immature for marriage. I think they have a lot more maturing to do before they can even make any relationship work with anyone. And I feel that way about both of them for different reasons. For her, what I find impressive about her, I'll start with the good, is that I'm very fortunate. I did not have to, my parents supported me even after 18, right? So I didn't have to learn all those things, and I wasn't cut off at 18, let's say that. And she was. And so the things that she's had to develop in herself, and then she's 26, I find that actually very impressive. And I understand her frustration with Nikki D, because I think at 28, he knows too little. Like, I think he's been too coddled. And the fact that you don't know how to boil water, you don't understand finances, like, how can you be ready for marriage when you haven't when you're still like a college student? She's too immature because she's too obnoxious. And I think that, having the ick and wanting to control him and not understanding like what it means to show respect and love. So I just don't think that, I think the two of them are incredibly mismatched. People come to the show, and my guess is like they're very, I know this is a dirty word, but almost desperate to find love. And so if they have a connection with someone, it's like they really want to make it work and they want to make it to the altar, but they're mismatched. And the two of them are not ready for full-time partnership.
Do you think it's like almost, because you're right, it seems almost the opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of why they're not ready for love? Do you think there's something to be said about why those two ended up with each other in a way? Because like, could their mismatch almost complement each other in a weird way, where he's so like doesn't know anything?
Yes.
She knows a lot for her age, but she's missing the kind of the emotional maturity to understand empathy or just like that patience, where she feels like because she knows it, everyone should know it.
Yes.
And it feels it like entitles her to the criticism that she's giving Nick. And Nick knows on some level he's a little immature. He knows a little less than he should. So like, hey, I'll end up with someone who knows a lot and can guide me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole concept behind opposites attracts is usually what we are attracted to unconsciously in another person is that they have aspects to their personality and aspects to who they are that we actually suppress and wish that we had more of. So to give you an example, let's say an introvert, this is just a low-hanging fruit example. Let's say an introvert and an extrovert get together. What the introvert is sort of drawn to in the extrovert is their adventurous spirit. Like, they're really out there. And it's not that the introvert doesn't have that in them, but it is so deeply repressed because it's not what they were conditioned to be in many ways. And then maybe the extrovert is really drawn to the introvert because they have a stability to them that the extrovert doesn't have. And that's something that they long to have. It's something in them, but they've repressed it. When opposites like this attract and come together, unless you can acknowledge, like, what I see in you, I also have in me, eventually what will happen is what I see in you that actually, like, what I was attracted to now really annoys me because now I can't really control you, or it's messing with my vibe. And so then people try to change themselves. Long answer to your question. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think the cool thing about Love is Blind is like you connect with people who you wouldn't necessarily connect to in real life. But I think with them, again, I think it was just a lack of maturity that they brought to it. I think she quit her job. She really wanted to find someone. There was someone who she was kind of drawn to. Like, I don't feel love between them.
Yeah.
I just don't feel love. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I feel like
100%.
early onset resentment.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like she resents. It's like she already resents him for not being the person she imagined he was, not who he said he was, because I don't think he was that dishonest with who he was.
She totally projected this whole thing onto him.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think he made it seem like he was 6'4".
No.
He's just like, I play football.
Yeah,
I also
exactly.
kind of wonder if, like, while they're in the pods, because they also had that love triangle with Leo and whatnot, that I'm like, I do wonder if their conversations in the pods were like good times, fun, or else like their serious conversations were about the dynamics of the outside relationship versus like, how do you feel about finances? What are your interests? Like the serious conversations they didn't start having until they're face to face. And now she's just like, ick. But it's like, this is who he's been. You've just kind of romanticized what happened in the pods. Then when she saw him, I think she was like, I don't know. And then it's just like a continual checklist of breaking him down.
Oh, completely. I mean, she acts like a nightmare in it. But he, if he were honest with himself, he's not into it either. But I think he lies to himself about this because I don't think it feels good. You can see it in his whole body and his body language. He doesn't feel good about himself when he's with her.
I'm honestly surprised that he responds the way he does to her. He responds very positively, you know. I feel like most men would feel emasculated and would snap and would be like, what is your problem? Like, stop talking to me that
mechanism,
way.
like his go-to is always like, everything's fine. He makes a joke out of it. I think in his discomfort, he not flirts, but like, he downplays everything.
Downplays everything, exactly. And so again, lying to himself for sure.
I also love how she was like, I don't want to have to ask you over and over again to take the trash out. And it's like, that is every man, babe. You have to ask every man over and over again to do something. None of them will do it on the first try.
Truth.
And even if we would, we're just going to make you ask anyways, you know?
And I'm there's a part of me that's really rooting for Hannah. I feel like, I just, maybe, again, keep coming back to this maturity thing, you know, where.
She's 27?
No, I thought she was 20. No, she was 26 when they filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's still, if I didn't have their ages there, I would have guessed younger.
Yeah, like 23 or something. Yeah.
Same. I will give her credit in the fact that I'm like, I think she does know what she wants and like who she is as a person. I think she has insecurities that she doesn't deal with and therefore get
big time.
What is it, projected onto her partner, which therefore why you're calling out flaws on how he dresses, what he does.
Yeah, her.
But no man worth his salt, you know, whatever. I don't know what the saying is, but she can't control a man.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't control your man. You can't control anyone, you know, like you just can't do that. And so that's not her. The way that she is not going to fly with someone who actually has a self-confidence. And I don't think he has that in himself yet.
Right. And do you think that's what she's looking for, or she should be looking for, is somebody that?
No, I think she needs I think that that's not in her heart and soul what she actually wants, but it's a habit. It's not who she is. It's a habit. That's how I see it.
I'm excited for the questions you're gonna ask her. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, Hannah?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing very well. What has this whole experience been like?
A learning experience. It's been great.
A learning
It's been
experience.
fun.
Well, let's dive into your learning experience because we've enjoyed obviously watching you, Ed, Nick. I'm sure you've been made well aware of the criticisms about your guys' relationship. So before we start hitting you with the hard-hitting questions, maybe we'll just open it to you in terms of like, what have you learned and what has this experience been like for you?
Yeah, so I've learned a lot. I've learned that there's things I need to work on. For example, I'm a very direct person. I know that, but I think my delivery is rough. And I've learned that delivery is everything. Mm-hmm. And even when we were filming, like even in the past, like time before, like it came out, like I was reflecting, but when you see it, you're like, gosh, that was really hard. And so I've learned that like just to be kinder and work on my delivery. And sometimes just because it's the truth and it's what you're feeling doesn't mean you have to say it out loud. Maybe think about it, think about the delivery, be a little softer. But the whole experience, I just learned like a lot about like what I don't like how hard it really is to like get married and all the things that you have to like put forth to be able to like get married to someone.
Have you had previous partners be like, rude? Bitch, have they been like, can you not? Like, has anyone ever called you out on it before? Or do you feel like this, just watching it back has been enough?
No, I wish people would call me out on my shit more. Maybe I wouldn't have been like that. Some people know, like past partners and stuff too, it's definitely like a problem. A little bit of like a control freak. Like I like the things I like. So I think in relationships, sometimes they just let me do what I do and they don't really say anything. So it's definitely like a problem with me, like wanting what I want type of deal in past relationships, but it's never really been an issue. But I also don't think I've ever discussed such like serious questions where it's so direct and you have to talk about such serious things before. So it's a little bit more unique. Like I've never been engaged or like married. And so like these questions I'm asking aren't typical things that I would be asking in relationships unless we were together for a long time. And we were a lot more comfortable, maybe.
Can we talk about Nick's appearance? It's my belief, and I think everyone in the household, everyone sitting here, that Nick wasn't as dishonest about his appearance as you seem to let on. It felt like you heard football player and then painted an image in your head of who you thought
Like
Nick
Travis
was.
Kelce.
Yeah,
It was
it's like, you're like, all right, we're a double date with Taylor and Travis. And while maybe Nick left some things out, and maybe he could have done a better job of like, just you are aware of what kickers and punters do. Maybe he could have asked some clarifying questions. He seemed to have no problem allowing you to get excited about him. But yeah, like, how do you see it now? Or was Nick totally dishonest with how he looked?
Yeah, I think that I'll tell you one thing. I know nothing about sports. So when Nick told me he was a kicker, I was like, oh, he's big boy. Lesson learned.
No, they can be little.
It was truly just my own ignorance. I had no clue.
Okay.
And I think it's just a thing too, because like all the girls, Nick just like carries himself in like such a way that like you just like think that like he just looks a certain way.
Big dick energy.
And like, yes, big dick energy for sure. So I was like, this man's supposed to be so fine. And he is so fine. I just had a different imagination in my mind. And like, when I saw him, it wasn't even that like, it's just so shocking. I think what people don't understand is even the littlest comments that someone makes, you paint this picture in your mind and you don't realize until the reveal. And so you can't help but imagine this person. So when this person doesn't look exactly what you think they're going to look like, I feel like you're just like, what the fuck? Like you're just in shock because you have no clue what's going on. But like, I was being so dramatic. You're just in shock. So when I was standing there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a giant. I'm so much taller than him. Like he looks nothing like what I thought. And then you get back and you're like, wait a second. Okay, this voice matches this person. Like he's the same height as me. He's actually taller than me.
In heels.
Dramatic, yeah.
And in heels.
But he didn't make it.
And I was wearing clunkers too. I was just being dramatic. Okay?
But Hannah, kept being like, wow, you did have to wear the heels. Wow, are you? I felt like he did play into it to where it like would have pressed that insecurity if that is an insecurity you have of
that is
like.
True. Actually, when you got the first reveal, it was actually his insecurity he put out before anyone else's. That is true.
Yeah, he like called out. He was like, "Wait, are you taller than me?" Or like,
"Oh yeah,
you really had to wear the heels or something." And it's like, okay, well, thanks.
There's an equal insecurity in both men and women, right? Like, it's not for everyone. But I think a lot of times women don't want a man they want a man that's taller than them, not like just a foot, like 2 feet, Yeah, I don't know. But and then like for a man, when a woman's taller than them, or they think that they're taller than them, it makes them feel uncomfortable. So I think we were both just like in shock.
I feel like a lot of the fans are kind of gushing over the transformations of some of your cast. I mean, have you seen what Garrett looks like today?
Yes, I have. That flow is insane. I was like, Garrett.
I mean, he is giving like, no.
He's giving GQ model.
He's giving GQ model.
Yes. He was like, I think he posted a picture where he was like doing something for like New York Fashion Week. And I was like, you look like you would be a model in New York Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Like, go Garrett. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say, like, I think that must be so difficult to watch yourself on television and see things that you are like, wow, I wish I hadn't said that. And then being forced to grow. So I just really want to acknowledge you for just, saying that like, I noticed some things and there's some things that I really want to work on, like my delivery. So I just kudos to you for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. I've got a lot of room to grow, but I'm trying, I promise.
Yeah.
At those early moments, what did you love about Nick?
I think Nick is just a goofy. I loved how like goofy he was. I feel like we could just like joke around. And for one, I thought Nick was really attractive. We have like a lot of common things that we could just like joke. And I really liked about Nick is like my dry humor. It's really dry. I'm seeing it on TV, but like we could just like giggle. And like when I would make fun of him, like I think it's kind of like a love language for me. It's not me being cruel. Sometimes it is, but I'm not trying to be. And he didn't like take it like I was being offensive. He just joked around with me. And so yes, I looked direct, but like he would listen when I had conversations with him, so we could like talk through things. That's why I love Nick. Like our just communications very well with Nick.
Which of your castmates surprised you the most as you've watched it unfold? And I'm going to give you 3 options. And if I'm wrong with these 3 options, let me know. But is it either Steven with the secret kinks, whatever they are, not shaming, but the lying. Ramses, who weirdly thinks he's entitled to like sexy enjoys over someone, their biological chemistry and birth controls, or is it Tyler, who secretly has some kids that he may or may not father?
Ooh.
That was probably the most shocking, I would say, if that's in reality, the whole entire Tyler situation. But
I guess more like shocking in terms of the person, the people, because I know in the pod, but the people they presented themselves to be, or the people we thought they were. Yeah, but who surprised you the most?
Ramses.
Thank you.
Ramses
Yes.
definitely surprised me the most. Just Ramses is just a very very progressive. He works for like woman nonprofit. Like you just never imagine that. So I was just like very surprised, I think, with Ramses.
It was that matched with the like, I'm judging you for serving this country that I live in.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Which felt very...
Point blank period. Yeah, I don't even care.
I'll divorce you as soon if you ever were to realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very shocking. I understand like standing ground on your morals is understandable, and I think, but at the same time, like let's be compromising and like let's understand other people. So that conversation was definitely unique. Yeah.
Just as long as he is enjoying sex.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's his boundary.
Exactly.
And he will not.
Yeah.
Do you have any anticipation for reunion? Do you have any things you're going in there to say, or anything you're looking forward to?
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing everybody. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see everyone get dressed up. Conversation wise, yeah, I think I'm just excited for everyone to speak their piece. Like we all see what's on TV and we all like have our own opinions. And I think it's just a place for everyone to say how they really feel. And I'm excited to like hear what everyone has to say, or like what everything's going on the internet, like the whole Tyler situation, or like other things, or see Garrett after his glow up. Like I'm just excited to see like what people are actually going to say versus what was on TV, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we are excited too. Anything you want to leave us with, Hannah, before we let you go?
I'm just an honest person, guys. I promise. I'm just a truth teller. And I just need to be kinder.
Okay.
And I know that. So I will keep telling the truth, but in a better way.
Have you apologized to Nick for your delivery?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And I've apologized to Nick back then too.
Okay.
But now watching it, yes, for sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry for being such a raging bitch, but I'm working on it.
You were fine.
Well, this hair color is so you. This like brownie blonde. I'm obsessed with it. You look so good. It's so great to see you glowing and happy. And I'm excited to watch the rest of your journey.
Thank you so much. And you guys look incredible in your Incredibles outfit.
Oh, thank you very much. Happy Halloween.
Thank you. All right, Hannah, we appreciate you. We're excited to see you at the reunion, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
All right,
bye,
take care.
Hannah.
Bye, y'all.
Well, speaking of accountability, she seems
Yeah.
like she's heard the people.
She's heard the people.
I feel like it would be hard. I mean, I can't imagine watching myself on television. I can't imagine watching every conversation I've ever had with you be like documented.
Oh
and
my
being,
nightmare.
Like, truly a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
I mean, listen, I think in most relationships, disagreements, there's always like, why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling, you know, where like, and you're not yelling, but you definitely have raised your voice. And you're like, I'm talking exactly like you. I'm like, am I talking like that? And, we never... and then you realize you probably are. So I feel like most fights are often like that. And to Nally's point, like to go into these environments, it's one thing to the pods, but to immerse yourself into the real world with these people and have these very tough conversations. What was the conversation, babe, that someone was having? I think, might have been Ramses. I don't know. It was one of the couples and it felt harsh, but I was like, these people are 2 weeks away from a wedding. You gotta get into it, you know?
I mean, the pressure. Sometimes I really think about this show and I wonder how many of these couples would actually make it if they didn't have the pressure of having to get married. They're strangers.
I also feel like, and maybe this is happening and we're obviously just not watching it because these cameras are not on them 24/7. But I feel like, and I feel like Garrett and Taylor have kind of hinted at this of like, if your dad doesn't give me that approval, like, are we okay just dating? You know, like, are we okay saying no at the altar and continuing to date? It's like, can't you have this understanding of like, we want to be together, but this marriage is really fast. So maybe like, let's go through with the rest of the show. Let's say no at the altar and let's continue dating.
That's probably the most important conversation in the context of this show. It's like, okay, if we're not ready, are we still a couple?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the only problem with that approach is that that's where these TV shows and productions come in terms of they are very much, I mean, credit to at least Love is Blind is that they call it an experiment.
Right.
As opposed to like The Bachelor, they call it a journey. And at least Love is Blind, they, you know, it's a what is an experiment? You have a controlled environment, you have subjects, and then you kind of test how they behave in your controlled environment. And part of this controlled environment is this whole like get married or never speak again. And you've seen it in this season, in other seasons, where if one of these people, at least on camera, and I would suspect also off, even suggests like, hey, so like
that's going to like screw up the ratings.
Not only the ratings,
it's just not going to be as exciting.
Not even that. I think if any of these people, if you're, let's say Garrett, right? And I think honestly, Taylor and Garrett, of all the couples we've seen over the history of the show, are some of the most level-headed and pragmatic people.
100%.
And we've said this in previous weeks. Unlike other in-love boring couples, why I don't find them boring is how they articulate their feelings and how they describe all the emotions that they're feeling throughout this journey, which I think is rare, and given the context of the show, I find interesting.
Totally.
But I think they're so ingrained by this environment to even suggest, well, listen, what if we just date? It won't be seen by your partner as pragmatic or reasonable. It will be seen as doubt.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
And I think they're trained to feel, it's like, wait,
you don't want to marry me?
Yeah. I don't want to think about pragmatism. I want to think about how close or how far away are you from marrying me? And I think that's why, unfortunately, in that atmosphere, the pragmatic thing to do is seen as unsafe or dangerous, because you wouldn't be being pragmatic, you'd be doubting your partner, or you'd be inserting doubt in the relationship. And
yes, that totally makes sense to me.
That's a weird element of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we talk about Monica and Steven?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
What are your thoughts? I mean, I
saw it coming.
Yeah, it's interesting. I too thought that they were totally mismatched, and in the beginning, I thought he's never going to feel like he can make this woman happy, and she, I think, is always going to feel like she's settling a little bit, and they just seemed very mismatched. But then he started saying all these things about sex and these sexual innuendos and I just was like, who is this guy? Something's off.
Mm-hmm.
Something is just not right.
I think what sucks about this situation is that Monica had talked about all the infidelity she experienced in past relationships, and it seems like she was so used to men who were deceitful, who would speak in kind of code and kind of, lie and be even almost probably bad liars. And then she meets Steven, who's this kind of seemingly over communicator, just big talker about all these things he's doing. And I think he painted this picture that Monica thought there's just no way he can be like the other guys, because the other guys didn't over communicate this way. And he shares so much of himself. And it was such a kind of, it was all bullshit. It was absolutely all bullshit. It was the worst kind of person, which is like this false sense of security that they paint, and it's not an accident that Steven was doing that. I mean, we interviewed Monica last week, and, she was like, Steven's definitely a good guy, and I'm just like, I don't know if we know he's a good guy. I don't think good guys are able to lie to the level that he was. And then to paint himself as a victim, as he tried to do on social media when the stuff came out, I'm like, that's not a good guy. Like, a good guy understands the stakes of the environment, understands the pressure, and empathizes with like the person they're in this experiment with. And when you hear someone like Monica talk about her past relationships, why she signed up for the show, what she experienced in past relationships, and for you to hide that very big part of you so easily.
No, I mean, look, everyone has some character defects, but there's some character defects you have to know where to draw the line in terms of who you invite into your heart. And if she's been with a lot of cheaters and whatnot, that indicates to me that that's not just bad luck. That indicates to me that maybe you're not seeing red flags, or, you're not drawing the line when I say red flags, you're not noticing like character defects that are actually very problematic, right? Like, that person doesn't mean that they're evil. It just means that they are going to bring a lot of problems to your life. It's just the way it is. And so I think that even her saying, he's a good guy, it's like, no, you're not. Maybe you don't have to, put him down. You can stay composed and not go there. But you have to your point, recognize that like he's not giving good guy energy. Like that's not, good men don't do that.
We didn't have enough of time, but if I had more time, I would have asked Monica, is he a good guy, or are you just a little too afraid to admit to yourself that he's not? Because I'm pretty sure Monica's saying, oh, he's definitely still a good guy, is her more protecting herself and what she thinks it says about her. In terms of, rather than what it says about Steven.
Yeah, I mean that, or she's just, yeah. I mean, look, no one will lie to you more than yourself. You know, it's just the way it goes. So, but that being said, I don't think they were right for each other. So even if he didn't have that, I don't think that was a match. I would never match those two together.
Ramses and Marissa.
You know, I take serious issue with his
performative enlightenment.
Yeah. But first I took serious issue. I mean, she served in the military, right? So like that's something that she's proud of. That's a big part of her identity. It's a big part of who she is. And he rejects that. And to me, wholeheartedly. And he lives in this country, you know, and so wholeheartedly rejects that. Fine. But then you two are not right for each other. How can you marry someone who wholeheartedly rejects a big part of who you are?
Yeah.
You can't make a relationship work if you're starting with that. So the sex part, that's just like the cherry on top for me. Before that, I was like, nope. I mean, I thought they were really cute in the beginning and all of that, but I just saw it as like, this is lust. This is not love.
Yeah.
You know, and like they're really like cute with each other and whatever, but you got to know what your deal breakers are. And someone not being against something that is a huge part of who you are, that's a deal breaker. And then you throw in all the other stuff.
I'm just more critical of it because, again, it's just if you're gonna, especially as a man, talk in this big way about how you're an ally and you're this kind of enlightened king and very progressive, like for you to talk about birth control in the way that he did, I just it's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. It's not lining. It's not lining up.
And I'm glad Hannah actually said Ramses was the biggest surprise, just because of like he just
agreed.
He just seemed to paint this very different picture of himself. And I think everything we needed to know about who Ramses really is deep down, because all that other stuff, it's talking points for how you want people to see you, especially on TV.
Yeah.
But when they got down to the nitty gritty, I don't want to wear a condom when we have sex is who Ramses really is.
Yeah, 100%.
A bit entitled, thinks that his feelings trumps others. And that's how you can absolutely judge someone's entire being and still expect them to want to marry you.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Her mom was a little hard on him. I mean, that was an interesting scene.
I didn't mind that though.
You didn't mind the fact that the first thing she said was putting down how he looks?
I didn't love that.
Yeah,
I didn't love that. But I think in general, overall, I'm not.
Yeah,
I
she's
mean,
a tough broad, and I respect that she's probably been through a lot.
I think it's just more, especially in that atmosphere. Again, maybe her approach could have been more refined, but clearly her daughter was like leading with her heart.
Yes,
and her mom didn't say you can't do this. She was like, I'm going to support. And ultimately she allowed. But she was just like, I'm going to ask the questions my daughter's too afraid to right now. Because right now she's just all heart and no head. And her mom kind of came in there. And to me, that was a loving mother. Maybe her approach was crass or whatever. But like she was there for her daughter. And I'll never criticize that.
I agree with that. And look, you know, this is actually a thing. I mean, it can't be all heart. You can't go into a relationship all heart. You got to have a little head too. You know, like you have to be a bit pragmatic. I think that Alex and Tim, this is one I've been like really thinking about.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they hate each other.
Yeah. I think they're totally mismatched completely. There was something that I picked up on when they first saw each other, and their energy was there was no romantic energy that I can detect. And she kept on getting annoyed by something that he was saying. And I was like,
dog.
Yeah,
that's
the
my
dog.
dog.
That's my dog. And she was like, stop. And she was like getting all irritated. I'm like, already this does not work.
Yeah.
I thought that was very strange. So you think they hate each other? Yeah, they probably do.
I mean, I'm kind of joking, but like in that, it's like when she says, I don't like that, he doubles down.
Yeah.
That is a telltale sign from when guys don't like breaking up with their partners. They want to be broken up with.
That's an
They-
interesting thing.
Yeah, they don't have the guts. They don't want to be the bad guy. They would, and so they tend to just start misbehaving even more. And when their partner tells them what they don't like, they tend to do more of it. And that's what I'm seeing from Tim.
I've seen that a little bit in her too.
Yeah, I think they hate
Yeah.
each other. I mean,
Yeah.
for her to, again, she chose not to pick up her place at all.
I know.
That was crazy.
That
I mean,
was
not even a quick, give me
wild.
5 minutes, throw everything in the closet. This was someone who's like, I want him to see my filth.
Yes, that was, and then she was dissing his place, and his place was nice. And then to see how she lived, yeah, that was very, very bizarre.
Yeah, they seem like both good quality people.
Yes.
His moment with his dad, beautiful.
Beautiful moment.
She has a beautiful family. He has a beautiful
Yeah.
family. They're just like,
Not
very
right.
mismatched. He's very type A, very structured, could take a joke a little bit better, and she's way too loose.
Way too loose.
Yeah.
Do you think that when they're in the pods, that even though what's wild is that they don't see each other, but there's still a seduction happening where you're getting, lost in the moment and you're getting lost in the emotion. And yes, emotions are part of relationship and they kind of define the quality of our lives. But at the same time, it's all heart. Like it's all emotions. It's all projection. It's all imagination. And then to actually transition to the real world and see if you're right, like talk about an experiment. Like that's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Incredibly difficult.
And I think some of them get it right and they use their time in the pods. But you're right. I think some of them, because they're forced to talk.
Yeah.
They're forced to talk with no other distractions, no phones or anything. And for a lot of people, it is like it's therapy.
Yeah.
Some of these people go on these pods and experience something like they've never experienced before. And so I think most of them don't even know how to process the feelings that they're feeling because what they're all feeling is something very intense, whatever that feeling is.
Yes.
And none of them really know how to process it.
Yes.
And I think it's for the people who choose wisely, it's all kind of luck.
Yeah. It really is all kind of luck. And I think that people, when they're in the pods, paradoxically, they feel so seen because they have nothing to talk about. They have no distractions. So they're talking about things that really matter. And then they're really listening to each other. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Are you guys really thrown off by Tyler's news?
I need to know more.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Because I'm rooting for them.
He's being bizarrely. It's just like, why? The thing that I think everyone's struggling with is why are you being so cryptic about something? The more we find out, the more it's just like, couldn't you just have told her?
Yeah.
Like, why are we?
I feel like that's the conversation of like, so do you want kids? And it's like, well, I've,
just to be honest about it.
Like,
Yeah.
And then if he's not forthright about that, then it just begs the question of
what
like,
else is he not forthright about?
It's
Yeah.
like
that shouldn't have been a secret.
It should have been easier to tell that truth rather than to avoid telling it.
I agree because I think the fact that I don't think it's a dirty secret.
No.
At all. I think a lot of men do that and they do it when they're much younger and maybe they need the money. So it's just being really honest about it. The whole thing was that I found very confusing and need to learn more.
And then what we've heard so far is that like, not only is it not something that you shouldn't have to lie about, I could see it as maybe like a beautiful, generous thing he did where like he has a friend.
Absolutely.
Who needed a donor. He was there and he chose to be involved because he's still these children's father. Unorthodox, unique, of course, but like, it's
agreed.
Something the Ashley we've gotten to know would love that about him.
Yeah.
Unexpected, something she'd have to grapple with. She'd have to process it, wrap her brain around it. But like, reject him for it? That's not the Ashley we've gotten to know.
Yeah. So do you think that her response was more just being caught off guard, or do you think because it seemed the whole thing? I guess they didn't even also show how it was communicated. Right. So I wish they had.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like whether it's Tyler or Ashley or Monica and Steven or even Marissa, and they're not capturing some of these blow-ups on camera, which sucks.
It sucks.
Why don't they just put like
hidden cameras
all over these
That would be
apartments?
great.
Yeah.
That would be
Love
great.
Island.
Yeah, Love Island
Like
style.
Love Island style or
Yeah.
whatever. Like at this point, like
You're missing too much.
you're missing
Even
too
Tim
much.
and Alex, their big blow up in Mexico wasn't on camera.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. She's like,
Yeah.
I put my hand over your mouth, and he's like, you called me names outside of my. Yeah, it's like,
Like where?
what happened?
I think the show actually did us a huge disservice. I think it'd be much more interesting to see that.
Yeah. Well, I think Ashley had a normal response that most of us have, which is like, I have to assume that you might have lied about other things.
Right.
You know, I've always said this. I'm curious what your opinion is. I've been lied to. I've been cheated on before. I've dealt with all the bullshit, and I hear your story, and I find it very relatable in terms of how I think about relationships. But I still choose to enter into relationships choosing to trust, because I'd rather be trusting than a skeptical person. I recognize that I can choose to trust, and eventually I'll be disappointed and I'll learn things. But you can't go in just this kind of negative, untrusting person because you're, you know, so it is a delicate balance between learning from your past and going in like aware, but still choosing to trust someone. But now I think with Ashley and Tyler, he's given Ashley the green light to question everything at this point.
Yeah.
And that sucks for Ashley.
It does suck.
Because you want to have a level of like, yeah, babe, you know, I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason not to. And he's given her a reason not to for what seems like maybe a silly reason.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot there. One is I agree with you. You know, this idea that trust needs to be earned is actually somewhat of a myth, because trust is a very difficult thing to define. And it's also, you have to give it and you also have to earn it. It's a little bit of both. Because just getting into a relationship or deciding to commit to someone, you have to have some faith and some trust in the process. So, and if you go up with walls up, first of all, no one's actually really going to want that. So you have to have some trust for sure. I don't know. I mean, yes, with Ashley, who knows how it was delivered? I'm just not quite sure. See, what I was getting from her, and I think I have to watch it again, was that she was actually very upset that he has biological children out there. I was getting that sense that was part of something that was really getting to her. And I hope that that's not the thing that breaks him up.
See, I took it as, I saw that too, but I saw that as something that she was caught off guard.
Yeah,
and I think
shocked.
I think anyone, if given the option, right? If you get to meet your person, and I'm using in quotes your person, you're going to opt that they don't have kids. Rather, if you want to have kids with someone, you're going to opt that they don't.
Yeah.
You might accept that if they do, whether it's through a different marriage or whatever the reason. But I think your preference always is clean slate.
Yes,
and
especially at that age.
And he presented that he didn't have any kids. So I think her disappointment was more around.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lie there.
It's kind of like, let's say Nick said he was 6'4".
Yeah,
you know, and then you find out he's 5'11".
Yeah, it's a lie.
If he would have just led with 5'11", you would accept 5'11".
Yeah,
but he, you know, so I think it was more that than the act, and I could see her getting over it.
Yeah, I hope so. And I also feel for him, I think he made a mistake in not telling her. But I think it's something that he was very afraid to say, and that he'll learn a lot. I don't know. I'm rooting for them.
I am too.
I'm just rooting for them.
I was also rooting for Monica and Steven though, so I mean.
Oh God, no. Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, Ramses and Marissa already disappointed me.
Yeah.
They still love each other though. As far as we know.
I don't know if they love each other, you know?
There's always that point.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying.
The lust of it, I guess.
No, you can always tell at the end of like Love is Blind when some of these couples where they're like, you know, they'll have this big breakup and then they'll like pretend to talk about they're still planning on getting married. And we're like, we know you're not.
Yeah, like you're not.
You know, like
you hate
I don't think Hannah and Nick make it. I don't think Moranzis and Ramses make it.
I'm going to put my entire life and money on Taylor and Garrett making it.
Oh, yeah. Taylor and Garrett.
Yeah, I hope
I'll be devastated.
I will be devastated too.
And then Tyler and Ashley I'm on the fence about, just because it's kind of like
we've got too many questions.
We don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So
we don't know what her appetite for accepting his truth is.
Yeah. So maybe we're looking at just one marriage.
Oh.
It's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
I'll take one good one. And I really think Garrett and Taylor could. And again, if you've seen these pictures, all signs point to him being in a relationship with Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have that type of glow up. Have you seen this glow up?
I haven't, but now I'm dying to see.
Show Jillian. She'll be like, oh yeah, he's married to Taylor.
I'm wondering if they ended up together and moved to San Diego, and then like that's also the California effect.
Yeah.
Sure, but I've met plenty of guys who just wear t-shirts and don't know how to fix their hair.
Yeah, exactly.
In California too.
Yeah.
Not a hot physicist.
This is a sign of a good woman by his side. Bring up the photo.
Oh my. Whoa.
Yeah.
Right? That screams.
Can we click on one of those? Wow.
That's not a glow up that happens because you went online or that your sister decided to give you some like advice.
That's also not even like a breakup glow up. Like that is somebody loves you.
That's yes.
Somebody really loves you.
Someone saw your potential.
Yeah.
And you were a willing participant. Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
He's 100% married.
He's 100% hot.
Love
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh
my
didn't
God.
know. I didn't know.
He was gorgeous before too.
No, but he was
cute.
He was a handsome guy who took plenty good care of himself.
But needed the makeover.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hair.
But nothing about his aesthetic or his appearance
was hot.
And it never seemed like something he cared about.
It was like nerdy cute.
Yeah.
Put together.
Yeah.
But
But throw that all together. That's
highly
a whole
functional.
package.
Yeah. And she's like, I think she's super beautiful. Like
Same.
she's like a really just like lovely girl.
I even like watching them joke because they're so smart that I'm like,
I
y'all
know.
just have your little inside jokes. And I'm like, wait, Google what?
Yeah, I know. And that's what I like. Because I also think they're matched intellectually. And I think that's important,
Absolutely.
you know? So yeah, for sure.
And they both I think are sexually attracted to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Which,
Yeah.
I know love is blind, but it's
But, not
not
really.
forever.
Didn't some of them, I feel like Monica and Steven talked about what they look like. They're, in this season.
Monica mentioned her ethnicity
Yeah.
because I think she wanted her partner to know that she was black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Steven,
He has a whole story. There's an interesting
8%,
story behind it. Yeah.
But then
yeah.
he weirdly was like, I think you're gonna like what you see.
Oh, yeah, that was really weird.
Nick D also said he was like a less buff Henry Cavill or something.
Who's
Oh.
The Superman guy.
Oh, my God.
He had some like
that was his.
Yeah, he said something about Henry Cavill, but not buff. Or
I mean,
something.
Henry Cavill is like arguably one of the most handsome men in the
His
world.
face looks nothing like him.
Yeah.
Other
And they
than
don't.
he's white and has brown hair.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's like the Megan Fox, thing.
Literally.
Although I didn't meet her in person, and she kind of does.
Really?
She
You
does.
see it.
Really?
Like,
You see it?
You see it, and you think, oh, guys definitely have told you this.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
100%.
There you go.
Jillian, this has been so much fun.
Yes.
We appreciate you stopping by. You'll have to come back for an Ask Nick.
I would love to do that.
Her book is called It Begins With You. It's available for pre-order now. I know many of you people listening to this show,
Rihanna,
if you're out there, we're assuming Rihanna listens to our show because she's a big Bravo fan, and
Amazing.
we are the podcast. But I know many of you listen to the show relate to a lot of the things that Jillian is saying, so maybe it does start with you. And to start, maybe get the book.
Yes.
I mean, maybe that will be the start of your healing journey. If you're asking yourself, why me? How could this possibly have happened? Maybe this book is perfect for you. Send in those questions at asknick@theviallfiles.com for all things Ask Nick, texting office hours. We are back tomorrow with Gypsy Rose. She returns the show. Her new man, Ken, is with us to talk about their relationship, how it started, her pregnancy, everything under the sun, her very interesting and crazy life, all discussed tomorrow on Going Deeper. And then on Thursday, we have the very charming Charles from Golden Bachelorette with us, along with Crystal Minkoff and Cynthia Bailey, who are with us to make a very big announcement. That much and so much more on Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.